Our TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight on the...
Unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace to...
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
And
say...
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
I'm Bev Turner. Thank you for joining us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. The age of digital IDs looks set to begin.
Wow. The Prime Minister is expected to announce that as part of the latest bid to crack down on illegal immigration.
But as nearly 500,000 people and counting sign a protest petition, are these IDs really the silver bullet to restricting Britain's borders?
And then on the Late Show Live, oh no, sorry, it's the Late Show Late. No, it's the Late Show Live.
Late Show Live.
Yeah, I thought so. The former President Trump spokesperson, Jason Miller, lashed out at the idea.
A bold strategy. There's an economic crisis that's going on, and there's an illegal boat migrant crisis. And so Starmer's solution is let's make everybody get a new ID card.
The Prime Minister admits Labour got it wrong on migration as he prepares to tell world leaders to embrace patriotism to save the West.
And then you'll love this one. Former Prime Minister Sir Tony Blair makes an unexpected offer to take over the running of Gaza.
Now, 1 in 3 people admit they've cried at work. So, are we no longer a nation of a stiff upper lip?
The Great British Porridge Contest. A cook-off draws in competitors from all over the world in a bid to find the best bowl of porridge.
You wouldn't have a banana in it.
I would.
No.
This is our day, it is today. In sport this morning, in the Europa League, Aston Villa finally get a win. See, how about that, as Rangers lose again. The Ryder Cup gets underway at 12:10 UK time, with Europe looking to retain the trophy, expecting a very hostile reception in New York against the Americans. And England face Canada in the Women's World Cup final at Twickenham tomorrow.
Another fine day for many of us today as high pressure hangs on. But will it last into the weekend, or is that just too much to ask? Full details in the forecast coming up soon.
Well, we've already hit a controversy here.
Oh, we'll tell
Banana
you that.
in porridge.
Oh, we'll tell you in a sec. It's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Now, let me clarify. I'm not saying you shouldn't have banana or fruit in porridge.
No,
it's very nice.
You wouldn't want to be that controversial at this time in the morning,
it's
would
quite
you?
nice. But because this is the porridge competition, and so it's like where they do it all just with, you know, it's with salt and with made with water, not milk. It's all the proper traditional Scottish porridge.
Yeah.
They're not going to do it with bits of fruit in it. They're not trying to make it. It's not like the cook-off.
Well, we will find out, because at stake is the golden spurtle.
The golden spurtle, yes.
We've talked about this before, probably exactly a year ago.
Actually, I think it was 2, Gina. I think
Really?
It was 2, yeah.
Does ready bread not count as porridge? Is that not allowed?
No!
Oh, dear, sorry.
I mean,
I'm
that's sort of
sorry.
like an instant cereal. What are you talking about?
Yes, sorry.
No.
It's lovely to see you, by the way.
Lovely to see you, Anne.
See you.
I know, it's lovely to see you.
Yeah, good. You like birthdays. You're very good at birthdays.
Oh.
How old is Brian Ferry? Happy birthday, Brian Ferry. How old do you think?
I think he's 80.
Oh, I'm going 82.
He's 80. How did you know that?
But I'm a professional birthday person.
Well, you are, yeah.
Oh, anymore, is that
You
it?
obviously research it. No,
And a Brian Ferry
there
fan.
are quite a few others. All right.
Go on, let's have another one. Go on.
Oh, hang on. No, there was a good one. Hang on. There was a good one. All right, Johnny Bairstow.
Oh, cricketer. Oh, that's a tricky one. 30.
Oh, that's a tricky one.
34?
I'm going to go 37.
All right, you're both wrong. 36.
36?
That's quite something. And I'll do one more, right?
I prefer playing than doing.
It's fun.
This is fun, isn't it?
I saw his name at the bottom, Ricky Thingamajig from the
Ricky
Royal
Tomlinson.
Family. Ricky
From the Royal Family.
I didn't see his age, though.
Oh, he's got to be 82?
I'm going to say 84.
86.
Oh.
86. There's some good ones. I'll do them a bit later. I'll just come. Here we go. Anne Robinson.
Oh, she's got to be 100 now, surely.
She'll love you, but she probably already does.
In a way,
She loves me.
84.
83.
She'll hate both of you, but then she will do anyway. 81. She's 81.
Right, she's lying.
She's going out with Camilla's ex, isn't she? Parker Bowles.
Oh, yes, I'd heard that.
Yeah. Which 80, whatever she is, not bad, eh?
I love the phrase going out with. Is that still...
Yeah.
I thought she'd be courting with.
No, he's courting her.
He's courting her and she's just going out with
Women
him.
don't court men, do they? It's the other way around.
They step out with men.
Yeah, step out with.
Stepping out, yes.
They
seen.
are stepping out.
Say no more.
Or at least they were last time I read a gossip column, but I don't often.
She's going to hate you.
I think mostly I don't know who they are.
No, it's like that with Strictly and Celebrity and all that. I never know who they are.
You see a front page saying another Strictly, terrible scandal, and you think, who is it? Who is it? And it's nobody you've ever heard of.
Yeah.
So you think, oh well,
the world we live in. Anyway, let's crack on with something you will have heard about, and that is the government set to announce the launch of digital ID cards for all adults.
Yeah, and the word is compulsory as well, mandatory. That's what will get people going. So Keir Starmer has said that the Brit card, I don't know whether I like the name either. The Brit card will help to curb illegal immigration by preventing migrants from sort of slipping into the shadow economy.
Yeah, but the plans have faced a backlash already. Nearly 500,000 people have signed a petition demanding that the policy is reversed.
So, of course, the Conservatives have branded the move a desperate gimmick to stop the small boats, while the Liberal Democrats said that they cannot support a mandatory digital ID.
I'm a bit surprised. I thought the Lib Dems might have gone for it, actually.
I don't know, they're a bit liberal, aren't they? They wouldn't see it as a very liberal move.
I don't know. Anyway, well, let's talk to former Conservative advisor James Price, who's here. James, good morning to you.
Good morning.
All right, let's use the government's argument. It's a big step towards being a deterrent, actually, to illegal migration. President Macron has said it's stupid that it would really help in our fight against illegal migration. So why not try it?
I mean, I'm not sure that we should be taking any advice on governing from Emmanuel Macron at this point, when he's managed to explode multiple governments of his own in a row and has done nothing despite that £750 million that we've given him to help stop this at all. I suppose the positive arguments for it would be if you could stop the level of illegal migrants coming into the country, claiming benefits, working, all of the rest of it. And there are some countries like Estonia who, after suffering a horrendous cyber attack from the Russians in about 2008, have become the most sort of advanced European nation when it comes to all this stuff. They call them Estonia now, and you can access all kinds of exciting things online, and it saves them about 5 days a year in terms of not dealing with outdated government bureaucracy. So that will be the arguments that will be made. It's already illegal, though, to be an illegal migrant. It's already illegal if you've entered the country illegally to work. It's already illegal to claim benefits when you're not entitled to them. All these things are already illegal, and therefore, actually what we need to do is enforce the mechanisms that we've already got.
What we're told is this will be, at the moment at least, you'll only sort of use it when you're renting a new place or starting a new job. But any employer or landlord has to do right to live and right to work checks anyway.
Exactly right. So why is the government really doing this, some might ask? You might wonder, given this is something that Tony Blair tried to push 25 years ago, that other people have tried to push. And actually, in your point to the Lib Dems, I've never one to praise them, but I think they were the ones that insisted on scrapping this idea last time round when they entered the coalition government. There was one small liberal bone left in their bodies, which is encouraging. I think that this will be an easier way to clamp down on perfectly legitimate behaviour. I think that I don't trust that the government, which cannot run very well at all at the moment, can implement this massive change in society. And I fear that if you're seeing people being arrested for tweets, and you're seeing people already have to prove how old they are to access, naughty videos on your internet or whatever, that this will just be a way of turning Britain more into a kind of papers, please society and clamping down on civil liberties, clamping down on the right to protest. Are you sure you're allowed to tweet that? Don't you want to put in this card to access? All these sorts of problems. And the political response has been quite interesting, that you've got Nigel Farage, who came out immediately and said this was bad, and Kemi Badenoch, I've tried my best, but she said, well, there are arguments for and against it, but this is a gimmick, but also we need to have a national debate on it.
Well, that's what she said about the ECHR, isn't it?
I mean, it's not maybe the finest response I've ever heard from a party leader on this topic.
No, but it gives something Keir Starmer to say in his opening speech, because I've been wondering when they actually do open the Labour Party conference, what sort of speech is he going to make? Now, I mean, a couple of weeks ago it was disastrous. There was nothing good going for him, really, to speak about. And I just wonder if it's something that he sees and he will sell as a very positive move, and it will stop the boats and smash the gangs.
Yeah, well, I mean, I suppose there is a chance that it could poll reasonably well, because he will say this is a way to stop illegal migration. The fact they've completely failed to stop it in all sorts of other respects. And by the way, it won't matter if some guy rocks up and doesn't have a digital ID card, and you say, OK, well, we're going to deport you then. And he'll say, nope, ECHR, Human Rights Act, that's against my rights, give me a house anyway, give me money anyway. And the way that the current legal setup is framed, we'll have to do that regardless anyway. And all it will actually mean is the rest of us will get fined if we don't carry our ID cards when we go for a walk or a run or whatever. And this idea that Starmer was going to give a positive speech. Do you remember a few months ago, the Island of Strangers speech?
Yes.
He came out, and actually, for the first time ever, he was right.
Yeah, but then he denied it.
And then he did, and he apologised. Actually, what he said was, you know what, I didn't actually read the speech. He's someone who's so awful at politics. You actually can't, it's like playing against someone who's never played poker before. He's so bad, you're not supposed to admit that you don't write your speeches, let alone read them beforehand. Yeah. So does he even know what the consequences of this policy will be?
All right, James, we're going to talk to you a little bit later on. There's been some reaction from the States as well, and overnight we talked to the former chief spokesman for President Trump, Jason Miller.
It's a bold strategy. There's an economic crisis that's going on, and there's an illegal boat migrant crisis. And so Starmer's solution is let's make everybody get a new ID card. I don't understand this. I'm not the expert in the UK politics, but it seems rather strange to me. But here in the US, especially to have that be in the digital side, the collection of data, being able to track people at all times, really a little bit concerning when you look from the freedom of movement, freedom of speech. In the US, they recently introduced a real ID, which is they're trying to get people to go and do it, but it's not mandatory.
Well, what does that mean? What's the real ID here?
Essentially here, you take in whether you have a passport or a birth certificate to go in and show that you're actually who you say that you are.
Everybody's got a view on it, including, and we're very pleased to welcome him into the studio because usually he's somewhere much more exotic.
Yes.
Is travel correspondent for The Independent, Simon Calder. How lovely to see you. Right, you have a very different view.
Well, I think what we will see is that there will be a lot of people wanting to opt into this. I've already talked to a couple of frequent travellers who say, why is it going to take until 2029? I want it now. And look, this is a very, very 19th century document. The idea that you look at this and compare it with your images is very, very outdated. So we should already have passports on our phones. GB News' Bev Turner said, the pandemic and all that stuff we had to have on our phones was just a rehearsal. She was absolutely right. You'll recall, if you wanted to go any further than Dover, you suddenly had to have all kinds of things. Your vaccination certificate, you had to get a special pass. Each country had their own one. And yet we were softened up for it. However, if you discover that it makes your life easier, then people will be using it. I'll give you an example. In Amsterdam Schiphol Airport, there's a scheme called Privium. And it basically just says, oh, yeah, you're Stephen, we recognise your facial ID, your iris scan, just go straight through. And the idea that your face is your passport, actually, rather than your smartphone, will become absolutely normal everywhere. You were talking earlier about Estonia, that's already very switched on. And as people think, oh, it'll make my life simpler, so, you've obviously got your bank, your NHS records, Stephen's case is young person's rail card, all of those benefits are going to people just say, oh, it's so easy, isn't it?
But the concern is, and I get your point absolutely. And you saw in the modern world, and I like all the tech and all the rest of it. Yeah, you can literally go everywhere, swan through. Everything's all done automatically. But for that to work, it means the government has to hold that information on you.
Yeah, of course. But we are already signing up for that. And if you don't want to sign up for it, don't go abroad. In 16 days' time, exactly in line with what Boris Johnson negotiated when we left the European Union, you are going to, if you want to go to anywhere in the European Union or the wider Schengen area, you have to give your fingerprints and your facial biometric. And that is, you're not going to be getting in unless you are prepared to do that. That's going to be stored in a central database. And so it's just happening, everybody.
Look how often we've had to interview you at various airports. When, for instance, Heathrow, and who was it the other day? Brussels?
No, it last week, last
Because
Saturday.
they've been hacked in some way. There's been some sort of cyber attack.
Yeah. Of course, and talking to the Estonians, and we will be hearing a lot more from them because they're way ahead of this, they just say, yeah, don't have a central database, have lots of little databases talking to each other, so it's much harder for the hackers to get into that, and if they do, then it's going to be less damaging. Of course, things are going to go wrong, I can absolutely guarantee that, but the direction of travel is unstoppable, and I think if you just said to the population, maybe even to GB News viewers at large, would you take this if it made your life simpler? Probably half of us would say, yeah, all right. And a lot more would just say, well, I don't really want to, but I will do. I can kind of see that's where things are going. Even one thing. So my phone, I've just been to on a fantastic journey through the East Midlands, OK? Exactly, going from Nottingham to Derby. And I didn't have a train ticket. I had the East Midlands Railway tracking my phone to say, oh, he's just got on a train in Nottingham. Oh, where's he going now? Oh, right, OK, yep. He's getting off the train in Derby, and we've worked out that'll cost him £5. And That is, again,
so
the future.
Did you have to buy a ticket?
No, you
phone?
just register. You have to register, and you have to tap a button saying, I'm going travelling on one of your trains, and then they...
But the implication from all of this is at the minute we're told that this digital ID, well, basically, all adults will carry it, but basically you're only using it if you're renting a new flat or starting a new job. Now, the implication from all of this is that actually, over a period of time, we're going to find it loaded with all our information.
Yeah. Oh, sure, yes. But that is absolutely inevitable. And if you go back, and again to COVID, the idea, if you'd said somebody on 1st of January 2020, within a year, loads of us will have loads of different apps giving voluntarily information about our health to foreign governments, I would have been marched out of the studio. But of course, that's exactly what we were doing. Yeah, people won't like it. There is going to be an awful lot of people who will just refuse to get involved, and that's going to be interesting to deal with. But I suspect that the large majority of people are just going to say, I think it's going to be great, or I don't really like it, but I can see why we're doing it.
So maybe if Keir Starmer is trying to sell it to us, as it were, at the moment he is doing it in a phraseology that suggests this will stop the gangs, this will stop the boats. But if instead he said, actually, it'll make your life so much easier, maybe that would be a more positive way for him to sell it to us.
Well, I think...
You were advising him, isn't that what you would stress?
Well, the day I start advising politicians, no, I think... It's at this stage in the discussion, and remember, this is only really sort of 48 hours old, and already the online petition, I think, is it just ticked? 500,000, yeah. OK, so people are just getting used to the idea, but I am simply seeing what I am getting around the world. You want to get through the border at Dubai Airport, at Singapore Airport, you need to be registered. They just want to see you walking along and say, yeah, come on, in you come. And you're going to think, oh, that was easy. Yeah, please, have my data, everybody. And it'll just make my life more straightforward. I think people are after convenience, and that will probably prevail.
All right, Simon, thank you very much indeed. Let us know what you think. gbnews.com/you'll say. I mean, that is convenience is a strong argument. Maybe there is an inevitability about it.
I wish I had facial recognition on my front door. Because you get to your own front door and you have to fumble around for keys, and you think, honestly, if I was in a rush or if I felt I was being followed or something like that, it takes too long to actually unlock your own front door. And I was just thinking, wouldn't it be nice if your front door recognised you and said, OK, come on, won't let anyone else in, just you?
It would be. But those people who say, and I know a lot of you will be thinking, well, I don't want to be... It's just a way of them tracking me, tracking what I'm doing. And Simon's thing about the trains, it tracks me. If you've got a mobile phone and you carry it with you, you are being
tracked anyway. Yes, you really are.
I mean, you can look back. I can look back years on any phone now, and it'll tell me where I was, or go to somewhere I've not been for 10 years. It's, oh, you haven't been here for 10 years. Wow. They know it already. So maybe it's the wrong argument to have. Just complain about it because it's all happening anyway.
Well, yeah, and of course there was that recent story about the fact that there are some cars made in China that are actually spying on you. I mean, your own car. Yeah. Your own car is spying on you.
So I don't care, really.
Well, no, I don't think China would be remotely interested in where I'm going, but...
Oh, it's off to Sainsbury's again.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Well, there you go. Anyway, look, let us know what you think. Let's go check on the weather with Aidan McGivern.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. It's a fine day once again for most of us, but turning increasingly cloudy towards the east and across central parts, whilst it becomes windy in the far north. In fact, it's a breezy day for many, but the strongest winds will increasingly be the north and west of Scotland as well as Northern Ireland. That breeze coming from the south means it's a little milder compared with recent days, but as the skies cloud over across the Midlands, the south and southeast, not going to feel quite as warm here. 16 or 17 Celsius, 1 or 2 showers coming out of that cloud. Otherwise, it's dry for the vast majority, and we keep the sunny skies for much of Scotland, Northern Ireland, Western England and Wales as we end the day. But you can see a few showers there across East Anglia and the southeast on Friday evening, so it's not entirely dry. A few breaks in the cloud here and there, but generally it is a cloudy picture. That does, of course, mean that overnight it's not going to be quite as cold. But for Scotland, Northern Ireland, plenty of bright weather as the sun goes down, and although it's windy, that wind's coming from the south, so it's not a cold wind compared with the start of the week where the winds were coming from the north. Now, on Friday night, we're going to see increasingly patchy cloud across many parts of the UK, and of course that breeze, so the air stirred up. That means a frost-free night for the vast majority, with temperatures several degrees higher compared with previous nights this week. So not a chilly start to Saturday, but it will be a wet start for Northern Ireland and Western Scotland as a fairly active weather front pushes into the west. It's going to slow down as it moves eastwards, only slowly peeling away from Northern Ireland and Western Scotland to allow brighter skies by the afternoon here, whilst it pushes into the rest of Scotland by lunchtime, western parts of England and Wales. Patchy rain towards the south, more persistent wet weather in the northwest, whilst it stays drier in the southeast with highs of 18 or 19 Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Do stay with us, because still to come we're going to be talking about the golden spurtle. Now, it sounds a bit rude, but it's not. The Great British Porridge bake-off or cook-off or whatever. We are going to find out how you make the best porridge in the land. That's coming up.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Now it's time for the Great British Giveaway, and plenty of time still for you to become our biggest winner to date. Here are the details.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British Giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Just does it.
Really?
Yeah. So we talk porridge. Because
Yes.
as the winter months and the cold weather settles in, what better time to have a beautiful, warm bowl of porridge in the morning?
Well, if you haven't already, you might be inspired by our next guest, who is part of the Porridge World Cup.
Yes, and you could win the golden spurtle, which is the stirrer. It's like a stick, basically.
It's the golden
basically a stick. But there are 30 competitors coming from all over the world trying to get their hands on the spurtle.
Yeah, you thought it was just us that made porridge, apparently not. Joining us now, chieftain of the Golden Spurtle, Alan Rankin. A very good morning to you, Alan. Have you had your porridge yet? It's a bit early.
Good morning to you. No, this is a bit early for my porridge this morning, but it'll come later on. Yep.
Now, you have competitors from all over the world, and I would have thought it was much more like the speciality of somebody with your accent, for instance. But, I mean, where in the world do they make porridge?
Where do they not make porridge might be the question. This year, we've got competitors that have entered from 20 different countries, and the final 30 competitors come from 14 different countries: Australia, Austria, the US, Philippines, Ireland, Scotland, you name it. And it just proves the popularity of this humble dish. It's sort of viewed as a sort of a Scottish dish, but it truly is an international dish. And we've got people that come from all over the world to Carbridge in the Highlands of Scotland, and they battle it out for 5 hours across 5 different heats to see who can come up with the very best porridge in the world.
So what is the key to a good porridge? I mean, I have to say, being a true northerner, I always have mine with a little bit of salt rather than making it all sugary and horrible. But I know traditionally you don't make it with milk, do you? It's water.
No, well, making it with salt, you'd be very welcome in the competition. 3 ingredients. Oatmeal. Now, that's not the rolled oats that you might get out of a box, but the pure oatmeal, salt and water. And there's nothing sort of more simple than these 3 ingredients, but there's nothing more complex to make the perfect bowl of porridge. And the judges that we have, we've got an ex-Gleneagles Hotel chef as one of our judges. We've got the famous Hebridean baker as a judge, and we've also got a local baking legend in the Aviemore area as judges. They will be judging it on taste, texture, and colour. And I think we also have to think about these poor guys. They're going to taste 36 bowls of porridge during the course of the day, and that needs a strong constitution.
You wouldn't think, especially given the fact that all competitors obviously are pretty good at making porridge, full stop, you wouldn't think there would be such a difference in taste between them. I mean, is there one perfect recipe, or do people experiment every year and come up with different ideas?
Well, it is quite incredible when you see the dishes going through to the judges' room, how much of a variation that there is. Obviously, there have been some bowls that have been a wee bit lumpy and they didn't do very well, but some of them are so creamy and they taste fantastic from just 3 ingredients. Our current world champion puts his success down to using a thermometer where he boils it at precisely 95 degrees, and he uses Himalayan rock salt. Other competitors have brought spring water or whatever, just to find that competitive edge.
Well, I tell you, it's fascinating. I'd love to come along and try it all and see what the differences are.
I'd love to see if there's a real difference.
Yeah.
There obviously must be. What about adding things like golden syrup or, I mean, just as the last bit of embellishment, or bananas or fruit of any sort?
No, not in the competition. Of course, you can do that at home, and I do that at home. I have syrup or honey, but for the competition, it's the 3 ingredients. That's all you're allowed, and the judges would certainly sniff out any addition to that. There is another competition that runs side by side where the competitors are allowed to create a speciality dish, and that must have some porridge oats in it, but their imagination goes absolutely crazy and they can add whatever they want. So there's 2 championships. The traditional prize is currently held by Chris Ormiston from Scotland, and he's coming back to defend his title. And Kim McGee, who represents the Philippines, is returning to defend her speciality dish. So it's just the most crazy, quirky, friendly competition you can come up with in its 32nd year. So we're doing something right.
You are, and you get to walk away with that fabulous spurtle. Alan, it's really good to see you. Thank you very much indeed. Hope it goes well.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
They do. I mean, they say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and certainly it sends you off on the right, especially in the winter, if you've got a bowl of porridge inside you.
And how healthy, really, if you do it properly.
It's healthy, isn't it? I suppose, yeah.
Anyway, love it. Now, if you're travelling to work or school today, here's your traffic and travel update.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M8 O Junction 7 southbound on-slip is closed due to overnight roadworks. Drivers should follow the signed diversion and anticipate longer journey times. The A14 westbound between Junction 39 at Kentford and Junction 37 at Newmarket has debris on the carriageway, causing all lanes to close. This is expected to be resolved by 7:18 this morning. And on the trains, Northern buses are replacing train services between Corkickle and Whitehaven, and there is significant disruption on the Thameslink service between London St Pancras International and London Blackfriars. Plan your journeys with these disruptions in mind. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Do stay with us, because still to come, who are the mascots for the World Cup next year? What are their names?
Oh, there's one. It's like a tiger.
What animals are they? Or is it a leopard?
Oh.
Paul Coit will be here because he likes answering, well, he knows probably the answers to all those questions. In just a moment. That's next.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
and each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Right, it's time for our daily reflection.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Hi, my name's Andrew Latimer. I'm a Church of England minister at Grace Church in Greenwich. Do you ever wonder where it is that we can find hope in this world? There's a place in the Gospels where a man with leprosy begs Jesus to heal him, and everyone at the time knew that touching someone with leprosy made you ceremonially unclean. Back when I was a medical student, on our first day in the hospital, we had to watch a video, and the purpose of the video was to encourage us all to wash our hands. And in the video, the doctor would touch the patient's infected wound, which for the sake of the video was coloured neon green, and then they would touch the curtain, and then someone else would touch the curtain, who would then touch the notes and then the bed. And before about 10 seconds, about half the screen was now neon green. And the message was very obvious, which is that contagions spread. And this was the message of his leprosy. And it was to teach us something about how sin spreads across the world. And yet when Jesus was asked to heal this guy, he does a shocking thing. He deliberately reaches out and he touches the man. And for the first time in the history of the world, something bizarre happens. Instead of sin and uncleanness flowing from the infected person to Jesus, which is the way of the world, sin spreading down through the generations and across the world, this time forgiveness and cleansing flow from Jesus into the man. And to prove this, he's immediately cleansed from his leprosy. And we see here something remarkable. For the first time, instead of the neon green of sin spreading and spreading across our world, Jesus is launching something new. It's a clean-up operation. And therefore, he is launching the beginning of hope, which this world so desperately needs.
I like that because he was so expressive.
Yeah.
It was all very hand gestury and like that.
Oh, very good.
I shall reflect on that for the rest of the programme.
Yes, good. Right, well, you do that.
So you'll have to do all the talking.
Paul's here with the sport. Good morning.
I shall talk about the football.
Yeah.
Into the goal. Right, right. There's a lot going on this weekend.
Yeah.
So last night, Europa League, Aston Villa won. And Aston Villa have had terrible trouble. They've won all season. They beat Bologna in the Europa League. Ollie Watkins can't buy a goal, though, and even he had a penalty, and he even missed that. So it wasn't good for Ollie Watkins, England striker, but a good win for Aston Villa. Rangers lost, though, at home to Genk of Belgium.
Oh, Genk.
Because you've got two in Belgium. You've got Ghent and you've got Genk. So never confuse your Genk and your Ghent.
All right.
But it was Genk last night.
Yeah, OK.
I think it was Genk.
Well, you better be right.
Genk, yeah. Now, the Ryder Cup, I'm so excited about the Ryder Cup.
Are you?
Across the weekend. I'm not going to miss a shot. I'm going to watch absolutely everything. It is huge, and it is probably bigger now than it's ever been. Europe against America. It's a course called Bethpage Black. Which is extreme. Yeah, it's so hard. There's even a sign, I mentioned this earlier in the week, they even have a sign outside it saying, unless you are an extremely experienced golfer, do not play on this course because it's so difficult.
Oh.
So you've got the best golfers in the world.
Where is it?
It's in New York, just outside New York, Long Island, New York.
Gosh.
And it's going to be very difficult for European players because of the crowds. Because the crowds always in Europe, in the Ryder Cup, the American crowds always, they're not afraid of shouting.
Oh.
All the USA stuff, and then it gets a bit personal, and they're expecting the New York crowds to be even worse than ever. So they are going to have to be so together, and if Europe win this, it will be magnificent. So Europe already hold the Ryder Cup, so they just need 14 points. It's whoever gets to 14.5 will be the winner. Shall we hear from Rory? Got time to hear from Rory McIlroy? Let's hear from Rory yesterday. Here he comes.
Look at the results of the Ryder Cup. The home team has won every time. But they also have won convincingly. You know, it's been pretty one-sided either way. So, you know, whatever team, whether that's Europe or America, that is the one to break that duck, I think is honestly is going to go down as one of the best teams in Ryder Cup history. And, you know, Luke said it in his opening remarks yesterday, but we are here and we are playing for history, and we're playing for the players that came before us.
The thing is, you've got the Americans who are being paid, and this is the big controversy. And then Luke Donald, who's the captain, stood up and gave the speech, and they give the big speech to all the crowd there. And he said, and he even put in his speech, that we are not doing this for the money. And I thought, like that very much.
But it's very handy.
It's the foursomes at 12 o'clock, 12:10, which is foursomes where you get 2 balls, so it's a ball per pair, and then it'll be the best score. And then the 4 balls, obviously there are four balls.
Yeah.
It would take a lot.
And isn't it where you also see they use the computer a lot and show the trajectory of the ball?
Absolutely. Well, they do that with all professionals.
I know,
when you see
it's
that.
so much better to watch nowadays.
It really is. And you know,
see it. Yeah.
You know what? They did it with 3D about 10 years ago, and that was the only sport that actually was good on 3D. Because a lot of the time you watch football, it make you feel sick, and then it was like then they just ditched it. But the one thing with golf is that you could see all the undulations, everything, and that was really good. But anyway, gets underway 12:10, and then you've got the 4 ball at 5 o'clock this afternoon, same tomorrow, and then the singles, which will settle the whole thing, which will be on Sunday. So we're very excited about the whole thing.
Lovely. Paul, thank you very much indeed.
Talk Rugby World Cup at the next hour.
Yes, we will. We will.
And those mascots.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Still to come, Thea Wishwood and Scarlett Maguire will be taking us through the papers and telling us why Tony Blair thinks he could take over running Gaza.
A lot of people might think that's a very good idea.
First, so here's a European forecast.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you're wondering where's good for the weather or heading south during the next few days, be aware there's a next hurricane approaching Portugal whilst it's staying breezy through Greece, particularly the Greek islands. Nothing too unusual about that. But for Italy, increasingly unsettled, some heavy rain and thunderstorms, particularly towards the south, and for Sicily. Across Iberia, settled on Saturday, but here's that ex-hurricane likely to bring some strong winds and heavy rain into Portugal in particular later in the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
He said the most dreadful things in his book about Prince William, about Kate, about his father, and about Camilla, and about Britain too. And of course, it wasn't only in his book. He did it on the Netflix series and the Apple series. And all over the world he's gone round saying Britain's a racist country and his family is racist and all the rest. So the fact that he actually comes to Britain on a very, very structured, well-organised tour, gives away £1.5 million to charities, money he hasn't really got, but he'll do anything to ingratiate himself, convinces the royal corps of reporters that it's all reconciliation, convinces his father at the very last moment to meet him for reconciliation, promises that he'll be silent when he leaves, gets to Ukraine and immediately delivers this amazing self-justification of saying that his conscience is clear, that he's got no regrets, and that everything he said was just a matter of the truth, and it's about time his family buckled down and apologised to him. I mean, it is unbelievable.
Tom Bauer, with that in mind, if you could sum up Prince Harry in a single word, what would it be?
Dishonest. I mean, I am currently finishing a book about him, and what is remarkable is you've got to remember just 6 months ago when the whole St. Bailey crisis happened, this is his charity in Lesotho and Botswana, he was accused by the chairman of being a bully, a misogynist, of being dishonest and all the rest of it. And it did seem as if Harry's reputation had hit the dust. But he very cleverly has put all that behind him and suddenly appears, and because he hands out baubles to children and smiles and all the rest of it, everyone says, oh, it's the old Harry back. Well, it's not the old Harry back. It's a new Harry. It's the Harry that wants to have his cake and eat it.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
It's 6:48. Let's have a look through the papers with political commentator Theo Usherwood and former Labour advisor Scarlett Maguire. Morning, you two.
Morning.
Let's talk ID cards or ID on your phones.
Or mandatory ID.
Yes, it's front page of most of the papers this morning, and the Telegraph is going on part of a speech that Keir Starmer is going to give, saying that Labour got it wrong on immigration. And this is part of a plan to try, and I think the primary reason for doing this is to be able to clamp down on illegal working and to give the police and the authorities the ability to very quickly ascertain whether somebody has the right to be working in this country. It comes off, of course, the back of various investigations which have found people using delivery or working for delivery apps with proxy accounts. But of course, the real nub of the issue is the crisis in the English Channel. It's been seen as a pull factor. Even Emmanuel Macron, the French president, said it during his state visit. The powers are already there to determine whether somebody has the right to, to ascertain whether somebody has the right to work in this country. I don't understand politically, given that every opposition party is opposed to this.
Except for possibly the Conservatives, who haven't made their minds up yet.
The Conservatives who, but given the, I don't understand, and given the pressure that Keir Starmer is under, if he needs to deal with this problem, fine, but I don't quite get the thinking to do something quite so controversial, and to do something which is going to annoy and irritate.
Is it that controversial?
Well, I think the way it's being presented is that you're going to have this app on your phone, and it's going to be very easy to then access services, and it's, but so a lot of people don't have smartphones. What happens to them? You don't have to use the app, but I think you could end up in a situation where a lot of, especially elderly people, are locked out of being able to access services if they don't have the app. Now, that might not be the government's intention, I appreciate that. But I would have just thought that, given where we find ourselves today, especially with, trying to tackle, the government finds itself trying to tackle illegal working, The police already have the powers. I'm just not... I'm not sure this particular move is the right one right now.
What do you think?
I mean, this has been going on for an awful long time since Tony Blair failed to get it through the first time, with people being very worried. I mean, what I wonder about is we've all got so much on our phones. I mean, you know, my credit cards, my driving licence... Those aren't on my phones, actually, but anyway, because I'm very old-fashioned. But I've got masses of stuff on my phone that, you know, if somebody could find me. And somebody said, you know, as soon as you get digital ID, you'll get people who can fake them. That's why I wonder. I mean, I think the thing about elderly people being locked out, I think they'll do their best not to, and maybe you have a choice. And I think it began...
But it's mainly for people... At the moment, what they're saying is it's if you're looking for somewhere to rent, a new place to rent, or starting a new job. So it's not actually going to apply to that many older people, is it?
No, but what always the fear was, I mean, and the reason that all the civil liberties people were against it last time was because, obviously, ethnic minorities will be stopped on the street and said, you know, are you supposed to be here? I mean, it won't just be... Well...
Will they?
Well, that's the fear. There is stop and search, right? And so you just do it. You don't just do it for drugs. You find out... Look, I mean, I am absolutely on the fence about this. I think originally what was supposed to be was it was going to be mandatory for refugees and voluntary for other people, and I think they then just thought this is just too difficult.
If the police suspect you've committed a crime, one has committed a crime, they can already ask for that individual's identification, and they are allowed to find out. They're allowed to detain that person until they can verify who exactly they are. Those powers already exist, and if you're dealing with a particular problem such as illegal working, it is illegal. You will be stopped by the police, and they will. And you've seen the pictures as a result of what's happened.
But this is my issue with it, and I don't know which way to go on it. All of these, everything that this will do, is already available.
Yeah.
So does that mean it's stupid to bring in the card, or does that mean it's stupid to object to the card because it's all there anyway? Oh, that's
actually, Stephen, that's what I completely agree with. Is we've already got it, frankly, and so you might as well have it all on one card.
Also, the principle, because the default, if it's mandatory, which apparently it's going to be for us all adults to have it, then it changes the default position. It means that we will have a card, and you are suspicious if you don't have one. Whereas it's not an opt-in; it's an opt-out scheme.
I think going by the government's press release they've just issued in the last half an hour or so, they're insisting that it isn't mandatory. They're saying that you can have it, but I think, and this is what the point I was making, and I appreciate what Scarlett was having to say, is that if you don't have it, then how do you go online, or how do you then navigate government services that are really important? Now, OK, it starts off with access to work, it starts off with, but you know, there's a plethora of government services, whether it's benefits, whether it's your health service, you need to be able to access.
Yeah, all right, you two, thank you very much indeed. We'll talk to you later. In the meantime, let's have a look at the
weather. Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. It's a fine day once again for most of us, but turning increasingly cloudy towards the east and across central parts, whilst it becomes windy in the far north. In fact, it's a breezy day for many, but the strongest winds will increasingly be the north and west of Scotland as well as Northern Ireland. That breeze coming from the south means it's a little milder compared with recent days, but as the skies cloud over across the Midlands, the south and southeast, not going to feel quite as warm here. 16 or 17 Celsius, 1 or 2 showers coming out of that cloud. Otherwise, it's dry for the vast majority, and we keep the sunny skies for much of Scotland, Northern Ireland, Western England and Wales as we end the day. But you can see a few showers there across East Anglia and the southeast on Friday evening, so it's not entirely dry. A few breaks in the cloud here and there, but generally it is a cloudy picture. That does, of course, mean that overnight it's not going to be quite as cold. But for Scotland, Northern Ireland, plenty of bright weather as the sun goes down. And although it's windy, that wind's coming from the south, so it's not a cold wind compared with the start of the week where the winds were coming from the north. Now, on Friday night, we're going to see increasingly patchy cloud across many parts of the UK and, of course, that breeze, so the air stirred up. That means a frost-free night for the vast majority, with temperatures several degrees higher compared with previous nights this week. So not a chilly start to Saturday, but it will be a wet start for Northern Ireland and Western Scotland as a fairly active weather front pushes into the west. It's going to slow down as it moves eastwards, only slowly peeling away from Northern Ireland and Western Scotland to allow brighter skies by the afternoon here, whilst it pushes into the rest of Scotland by lunchtime, western parts of England and Wales. Patchy rain towards the south, more persistent wet weather in the northwest, whilst it stays drier in the southeast with highs of 18 or 19 Celsius.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Due to planned maintenance, the A90 in Dundee is restricted northbound between the Coupar Angus interchange and Cleppington roundabout. No access northbound from these junctions, with the off-slip to Cleppington roundabout closed. Drivers should follow signed diversion routes and anticipate extended journey times. Debris on the A14 westbound between junction 39 at Kentford and junction 37 at Newmarket East has closed all lanes. Expect normal traffic conditions by 8:15 this morning. On the trains, Greater Anglia services face disruptions between London Liverpool Street and Tottenham Hale, while northern buses replace trains between Corkickle and Whitehaven. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benamar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Britain was once the envy of the world, but look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning, brace yourselves, because the age of digital IDs looks set to begin.
Breaking news, because the Prime Minister has said he's going to confirm virtual ID cards will be mandated, apparently. Although we're not quite sure on that, whether he's changing his mind, doing a flip-flop. But we're going to get them anyway, aren't we? It's part of what he says is a crackdown on illegal workers.
But as more than 500,000 people sign a protest petition, are digital IDs really a silver bullet to restricting our borders?
And on the Late Show Live, former President Trump spokesperson Jason Miller lashed out at the idea.
It's a bold strategy. There's an economic crisis that's going on, and there's an illegal boat migrant crisis. And so Starmer's solution is let's make everybody get a new ID card.
The Prime Minister admits Labour got it wrong on migration as he prepares to tell world leaders to embrace patriotism.
And then former Prime Minister Sir Tony Blair makes an unexpected offer to take over the running of Gaza.
A new mega poll shows Reform UK, their leader, Nigel Farage, on course to be the next Prime Minister, with the Conservatives on the brink of extinction.
And here's an interesting one. 1 in 3 people admit they've cried. You know, they burst into tears at work. Are we no longer a nation of the stiff upper lip?
And in sport this morning, Europa League, Aston Villa finally got a win as Rangers lose again. There were tears there. Ryder Cup gets underway, 12:10 UK time, with Europe looking to retain the trophy and expecting a very hostile reception in New York against the Americans. And tomorrow, England face Canada in the Women's Rugby World Cup final at Twickenham.
Another fine day for many of us today as high pressure hangs on. But will it last into the weekend, or is that just too much to ask? Full details in the forecast coming up soon.
It's just gone 7 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
I don't know what to make of the crying at work thing.
You ever cried at work?
Well, I have moistened slightly. But when we've done, but only when there's been some like very emotional interviews. But in terms of just getting upset at work, in that sense, no. But and I wouldn't, and I don't particularly like it. And
I bet you have, because sportsmen get very upset about things, don't they?
They do, especially when their sport is cut down to like 1.5 minutes.
Oh, yes.
You know, sometimes, you know, but you know, but if you're an emotional person, it doesn't matter whether you're at work or wherever you are. It's just there, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, I mean, I do sort of think, is it wrong? You know, hiding your emotions, suppressing your emotions is not necessarily a healthy thing.
No, I agree with that.
But then is work the place for it?
Yeah, but if you feel it, if it's there, I mean, let's face it, everybody's been through it where you've cried your eyes out or something bad's happened, and then if they think, I'm going to stop myself now, it's not easy to do, is it?
If your boss yells at you or another co-worker or whatever has a go at you, you wouldn't burst into tears, would you?
No. Well, it all depends what the situation is.
It shows weakness, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. I don't think I would. I think I'd be one of those. But if I was to get very upset, I can't imagine I would anyway, to be honest, because I'm heartless. I'd do it outside.
Yes, exactly.
I'd get out there. I wouldn't
go
do it
somewhere else and get it.
So would you
cry? Don't cry
like that when they're and then go outside?
I do think it's slightly different for men and women. I think men are more likely to get angry rather than upset.
Interesting.
I don't know whether that's true, because
I don't know whether that's true either.
No, I think a lot of women would be upset, but they would be darned if they're going to show it, because they would consider it a sign of weakness, and you don't show weakness at work.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I know. I had a friend who did cry at work. She was working for a particularly nasty little newspaper with a particularly nasty little editor.
Oh, called?
No, I'll tell you later. But he got really upset with her. I mean, really demeaned her, and picked up her typewriter, because in those days we had typewriters, and threw it out the window. He said, "You are rubbish, and this is where your rubbish goes." And he threw it out the window. And she did cry. Well,
we should have seen the tears of the person the typewriter landed on. He was walking down the street at the time.
He was the sort who didn't care whether it landed on somebody. He was very lucky it didn't. But I mean, that's what newspapers used to be like. They were very nasty atmosphere in the newsroom.
But the thing is, these days at work, you can't get away with bad behaviour. Managers and bosses can't get away with it anymore. No. So there's probably less chance that someone's going to get upset from what a boss says, because they're not allowed to do it.
I think a lot of it is down to age as well, because I mean, we're all of an age where, I mean, particularly newsrooms,
yes,
have got horrible little people in newsrooms, and they were really, really nasty. I mean, there was none of this, oh, I think you need to improve your work a little bit. It's just, you were literally...
First day in the newsroom and I ever worked in, and one of the other women came up to me and she said, what star sign are you? I mean, she didn't say, hello, I'm whatever. What star sign are you? And I said, Virgo. She said, oh, pity the rest of us are Gemini, and walked off.
Oh, nice. Was that Mystic Meg, by the way, who was working on the paper at the time?
Honestly, yeah, what a welcome.
It was stressful places. It's why we always used to drink and smoke in the newsroom.
That was our experience.
That was like the old days.
Drink and smoke.
I had a guy
when I was at
boss
ITM,
screamed at me once, and he said, get in the office. It was something I'd done on the air for a radio station I was working. Get in there, get in there. So I walked in there, and I went, what is it? He went, now get out! And so I was like, what do you want me in? I was like, not like hokey-cokey, but it was just like the anger. I think, oh my goodness, is it really worth it?
There used to be a lot of that in newsrooms.
Oh, yeah.
It's calmed down a bit since then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, let's crack on, shall we? Something which might get you upset or angry, or both. The government's set to announce the launch of, well, there will be free digital ID cards for all adults.
Keir Starmer has said it's called the Brit card, which I don't think is terribly imaginative, but there you are. The Brit card will help to curb illegal immigration by preventing migrants from slipping into the shadow economy.
There's a backlash, though. More than 500,000 people have signed a petition so far. Look at it, it's going up all the time, demanding Number 10 drops it.
Yeah, people don't like it. The Conservatives have branded the move a desperate gimmick to stop the small boats. And the Lib Dems said they cannot support a mandatory digital ID.
Let's talk to former Conservative advisor James Price. James, good morning to you. What's going on here? What I can't get my head around is this is, in effect, consolidating information which is already there. So why is there a need to change anything?
Yeah, why is Starmer doing this is a question that we could probably ask every day of the year. Given that he's obviously solved all of the nation's problems already and can go and take on this massive, chunky challenge, right? No, I think that, as you say, when we look at the pandemic, for example, some of the systems that did stand up pretty well, things like universal credit and the rest of it, was where there had been modernisation efforts and you could kind of retroactively engineer some of the benefit systems to send money to people and all these other programmes. And that's just a function that technology is capable of making public services better. But the crime that this is now purporting to stop of illegal immigration, clues in the name, is already illegal. And so what you actually need to do is just have a better enforcement mechanism of all these things already. You know, people who are watching this at home, if they want to go and get a new job, they've got to show their national insurance number, they've got to show a valid form of where they're living, and all these things already. And of course, if you're a criminal, you're going to ignore the law anyway by definition, and the shadow economy already exists. The worst bit, of course, and we've talked about this a lot on this programme, is the underlying legal architecture that prevents people from being deported in the first place. So some bloke rocks up on a small boat and throws his papers into the ocean and says, right, now you've got to look after me. And then he goes to try and get a job or something. And you go, well, you haven't got a Brit card, have you? It doesn't matter. You won't be able to deport me because the ECHR will give me the right to a family life. The Human Rights Act will protect me from doing all of this. You're going to have a council give me a house and give me some money anyway, and I don't care about your card system as it is. So all it ends up doing is making more bureaucracy and more difficulty for normal people.
So that's the point, isn't it? I mean, it's a bit like him having the slogan in order to get elected, which was smash the gangs. Yeah. He said, never mind Rishi Sunak saying stop the boats, we will smash the gangs. Now that appears not to have very well worked. He now needs something else, and saying, right, you should all have ID cards, and those who haven't got ID cards will therefore not be allowed to work. That will smash the gangs and stop the boats. Will it?
Right, and if you believe that, I've got a small boat to sell you. No, it won't work. Again, it is not until we get to grips with this underlying legal system, the fact that, as someone like Dominic Cummings has said, if the Prime Minister actually did try right now to direct the Navy to stop these boats, which you could do very easily, and you could send special forces onto the beaches of France with the French cooperation and all the rest of it, the Cabinet Secretary, the head of the Civil Service, might well say that's illegal and try and get the police to arrest the Prime Minister. So unless you deal with all of this stuff, which means stripping out lots of existing laws, stripping out the ECHR and all these things, it doesn't matter if you're making people carry around a different bit of paper or a different spreadsheet in a government database somewhere, it's not going to work. And I think that he's lying to people if he's pretending that it is.
I mean, look, in a way, credit for trying something, to try to come up with an idea. You know, let's try and be generous. It's just... there will be people, perhaps, who are unwittingly employing people who shouldn't be employed. Perhaps. But the vast majority of people who are employed illegally when they don't have a right to work in this country are being employed by people who know that and don't care.
Yep.
So therefore, this isn't going to make any difference.
Right, and this is what I like your charitable take on this.
I'm trying to be charitable.
I know you are.
I'm trying to be a kind person,
and you always are. You're a wonderful person. But this is what politicians do when they start running out of steam. The last government introduced the crime of pet theft, which some of us tried to convince people is already illegal under the existing crime of theft. Right, and so just adding more and more laws and bureaucracy, that's only going to affect those of us who are law-abiding and not the others. Really interesting that some of the, and I won't necessarily name them, but all of these ride companies where you can go onto your phone and they'll send you your dinner on a moped or whatever, they've come out and said, well, if you crack down on illegal immigration, that might, make your takeaway meals cost more, which is essentially a kind of admission that a huge number of these people are employing illegal folks. And you saw a huge number of these mopeds with the little heated bags outside some of the migrant hotels. We know these people are taking the mick. And until you start clamping down on that and taking that seriously and doing raids and doing deportations and all the rest of it, nothing else is going to touch the sides.
Well, there's no doubt it's a controversial move and everybody's got a view, including GB News contributor Neil Oliver. He had this to say overnight.
I've been, desperately furious about the concept of a digital ID card for a long time, and I've been anxious about the possibility of somebody actually daring to bring one forward. But here it is, and I genuinely think that there's enough awareness, more than enough awareness out there in the general population. I sense that there's going to be mass refusal, mass non-compliance. I think this government has rolled the dice. With instructions from on high. I believe the likes of Keir Starmer and his ilk are just factotums. They've had to roll the dice on this, and it's going to be a disaster for them, and will probably conceivably be what brings them down.
So, like I said, everybody's got a view, including travel correspondent for The Independent, Simon Calder. And your view is the opposite. You think it's actually quite a good idea.
Well, and what I'm actually saying is that it's happening already, and there will be so many people who are prepared to opt in. Already, if you want to go to some of our top travel destinations, you are basically having to surrender your digital ID. Let's take the US. You need to apply for an ESTA, Electronic System for Travel Authorization. Yes. By the way, if you're planning to go there anytime in the next 2 years, the price almost doubles on Tuesday. If you get in before then you'll only pay £16 rather than £30. But to do that, OK, you will need to get a picture on your phone of the passport, the photo bit of your passport. You will then take a picture of yourself. You upload all of that. Then, when you arrive, the officer may not even look at your passport. He or she will simply say, "Oh, here's Anne. Oh,
yeah, they bring you up on a little computer, don't they?
Yeah, well, they just will look at your face and say, "Oh, Anne Diamond, crikey, her photo doesn't do her justice," and they won't even care about your passport. And these things are obsolete. Increasingly at frontiers across the world, they're not even interested in looking at them. It's your face that is your passport. And yes, we will get used to the idea of carrying loads of data on our phones. If just a simple journey during the COVID pandemic. I remember I went to Canada in order to get into the US, and I just had to have a whole list of apps and vaccination certificates and test results and everything on my phone. I didn't like it, but it was the only way I was going to get in, so people just cope. They want to go on holiday, bluntly, or go and see loved ones, or go and do business.
Because you're so experienced at travelling like this and using it, is there any evidence that they can be very easily faked?
No, and the systems that, I mean, they can be hacked. And gosh, just last Saturday, we were talking about the latest cyber attack on systems at Brussels, Berlin, Heathrow and Dublin airports. Thousands of passengers inconvenienced. Everything had to default to the olden days, 20th century boarding passes. Yes, so that was very messy, and things are going to go wrong, I can guarantee that. But if you look at the really cutting-edge nations, Dubai, Singapore, you go through there and they'll say, actually, we don't really employ people. There's a few people sitting over there standing around, passport officers, if you need some help. But bluntly, you just register online and you walk up to the gate, they will see it's you and off you go. So, yeah, it's your face is becoming your passport. You're going to have to surrender lots of stuff
and not have any cosmetic surgery done, or otherwise your face won't look like your photograph.
No.
Oh, well, that's a good point.
That's a good point. Well, we hadn't thought about it, Simon, had we? To be fair. I'll tell you what, though, I guess what British people are objecting to with a lot of this. And I mean, what you say is right, and it's the way it's happening, and there's more and more and more data on our phones that we don't even realise is being saved at the moment. That's technology. However, what we don't like is this idea of Big Brother, this idea that we are being constantly monitored and that we could be stopped at any time and have to prove who we are and all this sort of... It's almost a bit of a dystopian vision of the future.
Oh, sure, papers, please. Yeah, but it won't be papers, please. I mean, you're already tracked. We were talking during the Notting Hill Carnival about facial recognition and everything that's happening there. It's happening. Earlier, Stephen was saying that his car knows where he's been. It'll just say, oh, yeah, 7 years ago you were here. And
I think as well, though, a lot of people object, or maybe feeling that they want to object, because of just the very thought that why should we have to prove who we are all the time just to try and stop illegal migrants coming across the channel? There's something about that seems wrong.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's a huge, big political arguments about whether this is going to do what it's intended to do. We've already heard lots of doubts on GB News about that. I'm simply saying it is an unstoppable force towards us surrendering more data. And I had a lovely day out the other day going from Nottingham to Derby on the train, no ticket, just tap a button on my phone saying, I'm just about to get on a train. And East Midlands Railway is saying, oh, look, there he is. And he's just, he's on his way. Oh, the train's on time. And he's got off the train now in Derby and we'll charge him £5. Now, I am prepared to have them watching me because it's just, frankly, easier and actually cheaper as well.
Simon, thank you very much indeed. It's really good to get different perspectives on this. But should we show you what it might all look like? Because apparently me and Anne have got ID cards already. There you go.
Oh.
You're not allowed to smile.
Oh, you're not?
No, no smiling.
Yes, we work here. We've
always smiling, yeah.
They've not got our date of birth on there, have they? I don't know. I can't see.
So you come down to a QR code. That's what you are at the end of the day.
Yes, actually, but those QR codes are quite useful. If you want to scan our QR codes, you can do, and you can leave your thoughts on our website about digital IDs.
That's a bit scary already. See, that's scary already. And what if somebody...
Glad it says valid on it.
Yeah. What if somebody steals your phone and gets on a railway and suddenly find you're paying for somebody else, the person who stole your phone?
How did they get on your phone then to activate the...
Oh, I see. Well, yeah.
I mean, it's why you need to keep your phones locked.
Yeah.
And all that sort of thing.
And don't lose them.
It is the way the world... I mean, this is... I know loads of you like it, and I know loads of you message and say, Stephen, it's not a good thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm with Simon.
Yeah, you're just saying it's here already.
It's happening. And we're going to have to lump it. It's just the way the world is going.
And the big question is, because this is what Keir Starmer is really, I suspect, the reason for doing it, apart from anything else, is to try and make it less desirable for illegal migrants to come here.
It is a deterrent.
Will it be a deterrent?
It's not as much of a deterrent as Rwanda, but it is a deterrent. I mean, that's what we're being pushed over.
Sold.
Anyway, look, you'll send us your views, as always. We appreciate it. Should we have a look at the weather? Here's Aidan.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. It's a fine day once again for most of us, but turning increasingly cloudy towards the east and across central parts, whilst it becomes windy in the far north. In fact, it's a breezy day for many, but the strongest winds will increasingly be the north and west of Scotland as well as Northern Ireland. That breeze coming from the south means it's a little milder compared with recent days, but as the skies cloud over across the Midlands, the south and southeast, not going to feel quite as warm here. 16 or 17 Celsius, 1 or 2 showers coming out of that cloud. Otherwise, it's dry for the vast majority, and we keep the sunny skies for much of Scotland, Northern Ireland, Western England and Wales as we end the day. But you can see a few showers there across East Anglia and the southeast on Friday evening, so it's not entirely dry. A few breaks in the cloud here and there, but generally it is a cloudy picture. That does, of course, mean that overnight it's not going to be quite as cold. But for Scotland, Northern Ireland, plenty of bright weather as the sun goes down, and although it's windy, that wind's coming from the south, so it's not a cold wind compared with the start of the week where the winds were coming from the north. Now, on Friday night, we're going to see increasingly patchy cloud across many parts of the UK and, of course, that breeze, so the air stirred up. That means a frost-free night for the vast majority, with temperatures several degrees higher compared with previous nights this week. So not a chilly start to Saturday, but it will be a wet start for Northern Ireland and Western Scotland as a fairly active weather front pushes into the west. It's going to slow down as it moves eastwards, only slowly peeling away from Northern Ireland and Western Scotland to allow brighter skies by the afternoon here, whilst it pushes into the rest of Scotland by lunchtime, western parts of England and Wales. Patchy rain towards the south, more persistent wet weather in the northwest, whilst it stays drier in the southeast with highs of 18 or 19 Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Do stay with us. Still to come, there are reports that the next 007 will be an unknown actor. But just when will we be told? Who is it, do you think?
Who knows?
Is that where you're going for the next few months?
Yes, it is.
He's going to be the next 007. Anything can happen. More on that with Scarlett Maguire and Theo Usherwoods as we look through the papers in just a couple of moments. First of all, though, is it unprofessional to cry at work? We're going to be debating that next.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Now it's time for the Great British Giveaway, and plenty of time for you to become our biggest ever winner. So far, that is. Here are all the details.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British Giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16, PO Box 8690, Derby, DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Now, have you ever had a good old cry at work? You know, shed a tear, burst into tears. It's not something many of us would like to admit, actually. Many people probably have done it at some point.
Well, 1 in 3 workers say they bawled their eyes out in the office. Is it really something that we should accept, or is it unprofessional behaviour?
Joining us to debate that, broadcaster and psychotherapist Lucy Beresford, and etiquette expert and confidence coach Diana Mather. I wonder which way they're going to go. Let's start with you, Lucy. Is it OK to cry at work?
Yes, I think it is OK. I think it's very important at work, in the workplace, to be authentic. There are probably times and places where it's not so important to let that emotion out, but there are so many people who are using the bathrooms, let's say, the toilet cubicles to shed a tear, because if you repress that emotion, and let's say it's something really quite serious, then that can actually lead to a lot of absenteeism. And what many enlightened companies are deciding is that employee assistance programs, which is where you offer support, particularly of an emotional nature, that's probably better than having people who are struggling and who are having emotions that are hard to process, and then they take a lot of time off work. And that, frankly, leaves your employer with quite a big hole to fill. So, as I say, and certainly leading from the top, some of the very big companies, I remember Unilever came out a couple of years ago, and they set in place, instead of just first aid workers in the workplace, they actually identified mental health practitioners who could support people and in a way make it acceptable to have emotions. I don't think we can really deny the fact that if you're human, you are going to have emotions, and you're going to bring that into the workplace, particularly as workplaces tend to be places where we spend an awful lot of time.
Diane, what do you make of that? I'm slightly struck by the fact Lucy said, you know, we have to be authentic at work. Do we?
No, I don't think we do. We are there to do a job. You have to try, if at all possible, to leave your baggage at the door. If you're focusing on what you're doing, you're less likely the other emotions to come out. Keep yourself focused on your work. And I know I have been in situations, really dire situations, where I have been at work. And because I've managed to focus on purely what I'm supposed to be doing, the people I'm working with, I found by the end of the day, I felt really so much better. If we are all allowed to pour out our emotions all the time, it's very distracting for other people. I know Lisa didn't mean that. That's being facetious. But we have to be disciplined at work. We are there to do a job. We're there to help our employers. We're there to help our colleagues. And if somebody is crying next to you on a desk, I am totally distracted because you want to know what's wrong and what you can do to help. If at all possible, you lock your emotions in and you concentrate on what you are there to do, and that's to help your friends, colleagues, and the company.
Yeah, I mean, Lucy, I would have thought, but maybe it's just the generation I come from, that you don't do it at work, you let it out when you get home. I suppose one of the big problems is maybe people don't have others at home to whom they can unload.
Well, I think that's right. That's why people like me exist, really. I'm thinking about what happened when Rachel Reeves cried on the front bench and how seismic that was. There were photos of that on the front page of every single paper the following day. Now, there were potentially market implications for that because many people, particularly in the financial services industry, were thinking, well, is this woman going to have a job in the next couple of hours? And what are the impacts on that going to be for the UK economy? So there are definitely moments where emotional release can be really not only potent, but also quite worrying. And I think it is certainly the case that because we are empathic creatures, human beings, when we see someone else displaying emotion, that will often trigger something in us. Usually, what impact is this going to have on me? Is this person distressed because they know that there's a saber-toothed tiger around the corner, because I need to know there's a saber-toothed tiger around the corner as well and start running away? That's how that empathy has evolved over time. But now we're in the 21st century, we need to really harness that emotion. And because there are so many people in industries where there is a people connection, actually being empathic, being in tune with your emotions and being able to emote can actually be incredibly important in retail,
if I may come in,
consumer-facing industries,
go on, Diana.
places where you have to understand why your consumer is
but on the other hand,
behaving the way they are.
If we are going to upset other people by our emotions, that is not a good thing. And interesting, Rachel Reeves, see, for some people would say, well, is she up to the job? If it's going to get to her that much, how is she going to have a cool head and focus, especially on finance?
And what a shocking thing to say. But
it is true. It's what a lot of people thought.
They're not up to the job.
It's what a lot of people thought, even if, Lucy, you think it's cruel. I'm so sorry. It's such a great debate, actually, but we're going to have to call time on it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for both of you. Yeah, don't get too upset about it.
Yes, it is an interesting debate. They both made very, very good points. I just sort of think I'm a bit with Diana in the idea that work and just getting your head down and getting on with work, if you're really upset about something like a breakup or a family death or something like that, can be a really good distraction rather than going to work and then sort of unloading like they're a load of friends.
Yeah, I don't think, yes, and that's interesting, isn't it? Because it could be dangerous to immediately think your work colleagues are your friends on whom you can unload. I just don't think work's the place to do it, but...
No, I don't. I've got to be honest, I don't. We're a bit on the same page with that one. But you'll have a view,
Let us know what you think, yeah. In a couple of moments, we're going to be meeting, or Paul Coyte, anyway, is going to be meeting rugby player Kat Merchant to discuss the Women's World Cup. That's coming up in just a couple of moments.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Drivers on the A90 northbound in Dundee should be aware of overnight roadworks between Cooper Angus Interchange and Cleppington Roundabout. The off-slip to Cleppington Roundabout is closed, so follow diversion routes. On the M27 westbound, a broken down vehicle partially closes a lane between junctions 7 and 5 in Southampton. Suffolk's A14 westbound faces obstructions, closing all lanes between junctions 39 and 37, with 15-minute delays expected. And on the trains, Greater Anglia faces disruptions between London Liverpool Street and Tottenham Hale. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
How can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, DC.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
All right, 7:37, it's time for the sport with Paul.
The Red Roses are in the final again of the Rugby World Cup, which happens at Twickenham. We're very excited about it. They're going to be playing Canada, so the number 1 and number 2 in the world.
When's that?
It is Saturday at 4 o'clock.
Good weather for it too.
Absolutely. I'm very excited because someone who was in the team the last time that England won the World Cup is with us, Kat Merchant.
Yes.
Hey, Kat.
Hello.
Yeah.
Great to see you. How excited are you?
Oh, I'm excited, I'm nervous, I feel like I've got butterflies even though I'm not playing, because it's just been such an incredible tournament so far, and to have 82,000 people tomorrow, like filling out the Allianz
This is going to be the biggest women's rugby game ever, right?
Game ever, yeah.
But the thing is that we are... this is what makes me nervous. Now, I don't know if this is just because I'm British. It's because we are so good. And was it 32 on the bounce now? Yeah. And so far ahead of everybody else in this game. But when it gets to the final... I mean, this happened the last time, didn't it? 4 years ago in New Zealand.
Yeah,
But it didn't go the way we wanted it to.
No, but we did go down to 14 players. We got a red card in the first 12 minutes. So they very nearly were good enough to win a World Cup with 14 for the majority of it. New Zealand got it in the end, and it was a fantastic final. As a neutral watching that, people said that was the best game they'd seen. I think that this weekend's going to be even better tomorrow. I think Canada have turned up at this tournament. They've played the best rugby so far, but I think England on the day are the better team. So if both teams play to their full potential, England take it.
It's sport, though, isn't it? You just don't know. It makes me nervous.
How much will the home crowd help?
It should help, but it also can be a pressure. Because no one there has played in front of that many people before. They'll have done Sevens tournament where there's 60,000, things like that, but 82,000 full stadium, it's going to be really nerve-wracking. But the majority of people in there will be supporting England, obviously. So
where will you be? Do you get a special place?
I'm on 5 Live, so I'm doing radio.
Oh, you're actually you're working.
Yeah.
Can you enjoy it as much?
No.
If you're actually
It's a good point. You can't, can you? You just can't.
It depends. If we go really really far ahead in the first part, yes, great, you can relax a little bit. But I was doing the New Zealand game where they won in the final, and obviously you're professional, you're calling it, but really you're like, it's my friends. And
I love it. I tell you what, I really do like it. I mean, and let's face it, I'm not exactly on the fence when it comes to football and talking about Spurs. We kind of know that. But do you say we, or do you have to say they when you're actually being professional about it? Because I like it.
Terribly important.
But I like it when you're talking to a British audience, of course, an English audience. So that's okay. Isn't it? You can cheer and get excited.
Because I'm a co-commentator, so I'm there as like the expert, so I could say we. I would most likely be, from an England perspective, they really want to be doing this, or it would be great to see England be able to do this. So, there's.
Oh, I know. I'll have to listen now to see if you get more and more excited.
I'm quite.
Because that will show in your voice, won't it?
Oh yeah, you can definitely be excited, and that's I would be with any of the club games that I do, all of it. So you're supposed to be behind England, but also if they're not performing in a way you'd expect them to. Also, it's analytical to say, OK, they'll be disappointed with that because of. So you just want to be fair, but I'm already excited.
It's an interesting time, isn't it, with women's sport at the moment. I mean, the football has picked up a lot over the last few years, and now the rugby, where again, it's. I mean, you've been doing so well for a long time, but it's the fact that it is this momentum, this attention, which is really getting behind it.
Yeah, there's millions have viewed it. There's been 440,000 tickets sold across this World Cup. And what I love is if you're just on the tube and you're heading in somewhere, instead of people just talking about things, I've heard there's a World Cup on, they're talking about actual players. Right. They're saying, can't wait to see Sophie Goody for Canada play, can't wait to see Ellie Kilden carve up a full-back. People are actually knowing a lot more about it, and I love that, seeing how far the game has come.
Well, let me ask you, from when you won, so it was only, 11 years ago, how much different is it? In terms of fans, in terms of the game itself, has it come on leaps and bounds?
Yeah, so 2010, so going back to the World Cup before, that was at home, and we filled the Stoop. So I believe that was
right next door,
this across the road. I think there's maybe 14,000, not exact numbers. Filled that was great. And then fast forward to now, 15 years later, and then, they're filling 82,000 stadiums.
It really is quite a difference.
Yeah, it really is quite a difference, and it's just growing. And 2014 in France was incredible. There's lots of support there. Us going out as England in France, obviously the majority of people there were booing us because they just don't want England to win. But I remember looking up at this pretty much stadium just booing us, and I was like, yeah, we're going to win.
And this is like the Ryder Cup, same thing all over again.
There's no tokenism in the way it's covered now as well. I mean, if you do well, you're on the front page, not just the back page. Just like the men's sport, used to be.
Yes.
Used to be. I don't know why I said that. But the thing is, but you know what I mean? There's no tokenism in the admiration for you now.
It's now just sport. It's rugby. So it's giving the credit where it is due.
See, I didn't realise how superstitious I am when it comes to sport. Now, when I'm talking about this, I don't want to talk about bus tours because obviously there's something that would have to be organised beforehand. I don't want to talk about how's it going to be because we should win. It's just a matter of I'm just so nervous about this, Kat. So should I be?
Yeah, well, I think more so that I don't think if England don't win, if Canada do win, it's because Canada have played well. So it's not that England have crumbled or they've bottled it or anything like that. I think Canada have just peaked at the right time for this tournament. So it's just who's better on the day. So I think that England just have to not worry about what's gone previously, because if you get that in your head, then it's, that's not a good thing. You have to focus on the present. Anything that's gone before irrelevant. Anything before this day, tomorrow, is irrelevant. You just have to rock up.
That's made me even more excited and nervous. It hasn't helped me at all, Kat. It's really good to see you.
Excitement in your voice.
Enjoy it tomorrow, 4 o'clock tomorrow at Twickenham. We can't wait. England versus Canada World Cup final.
World
Cup. Be with us.
Love it. Love it. It's really nice to see you.
Great.
Coming on Monday, we move on.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. There you go.
Touch the wood.
Right, still to come, unions are urging UK theatres to limit alcohol sales because of abuse of staff. We'll tell you more in the papers in just a moment.
First of all, though, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's where to go for it.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast. If you're wondering where's good for the weather or heading south during the next few days, be aware there's a next hurricane approaching Portugal whilst it's staying breezy through Greece, particularly the Greek islands. Nothing too unusual about that. But for Italy, increasingly unsettled, some heavy rain and thunderstorms, particularly towards the south, and for Sicily. Across Iberia, settled on Saturday, but here's that ex-hurricane likely to bring some strong winds and heavy rain into Portugal in particular later in the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Battle of Britain Day was the 15th of September 1940, was Goering's last chance to break the Royal Air Force, and really for the RAF was a key turning point for Great Britain. If we'd have lost the battle today, then Operation Sea Lion and the invasion of England would have taken place.
And tell us the significance of where we are in Hangar 42 in Blackpool. What is the significance of where we are this morning?
Well, the Spitfire Visitor Centre, or Hangar 42 at Blackpool Airport, this was the very first hangar built in May 1939. So when we had the idea that the war was coming, they hurriedly converted RAF Squires Gate, as we know it now, to from a horse racing track to an operational airfield. Blackpool was also turned into RAF Station Blackpool, and in the rest of the war it would become Europe's biggest military training establishment.
These are the planes which defended Britain.
They were, and certainly here at Blackpool we'd have had the Hawker Hurricane operating from here during the Battle of Britain, and then the run up to the Blitz.
And a new poll out today showing that 2/3 of people under 40 don't really even know what the Battle of Britain is. Is that concerning for you? I guess that stresses the importance of places like this existing for people to come and see.
It is concerning because if we think about how the world is today, if we forget about the struggles of the past, then there's a generation sleepwalking into problems in the future. So I think what we try and do here is keep the building as original as it is, and the realities of fighting on the ground as well as in the air during the Battle of Britain and the whole of World War II as well. So we tell a range of stories here, and I think it is very, very important that these private museums like this are supported, because if we lose them, we lose them for good.
GB News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good. I didn't. Sorry, we started without you.
Yes, we're going through the papers with Theo Usherwood and Scarlett Maguire. Should we talk about Sir Tony Blair, who's going to be president of Gaza or something?
What's this about, and how realistic is it?
Well, this is all part of the Donald Trump plan, and you'll remember, of course, that the President of the United States talked about turning Gaza into the Riviera of the Middle East, and that caused a great deal of consternation. And now Tony Blair's come up with a plan with the President's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and his special envoy, Steve Witkoff, that Tony Blair, having now run the Labour Party, he's run Britain, and he now wants to run Gaza. And
it would be an interim government.
It would be an interim government, and then it would be handed over once the situation is stabilised. This is the report. It would be handed over to the Palestinian Authority, but it's yet to be agreed.
It sounds, Scar, in some respects, there is an element of sense to bringing some more. I just can't see Gazans wanting it.
No. I mean, they feel that Tony Blair hasn't always supported them. Look, I mean, what we have to say is it's better than the original thing, which was going to get rid of all Palestinians and then turn it into, as they say, a Riviera. And at least this is being done with the Palestinians, with Arab neighbours.
Of which he has some, experience, doesn't he? He does have experience on the world stage.
Yeah, no, he does have experience, but I mean, Theo is absolutely right, is that Tony Blair is desperate to run. I mean, really, he wanted to be president of Europe, but the Iraq war debacle stopped that. I mean, actually, he'd like to be president of the world. Gaza will do in the interim. But I remember being in Bosnia when Paddy Ashdown was that equivalent, and they hated him. I mean, they just...
Well, it is one of those jobs where somebody's going to hate you anyway.
But as soon as you get into power, it's the same in Kosovo, because I spent quite a lot of time there. As soon as you get into power, you think, well, this is mine, right?
But you think of, if you're a politician like him, you think of your legacy, and he doesn't like his legacy at the moment, obviously.
No, he really doesn't.
So he would like to be, as Donald Trump wants to be, he'd like to be the peacemaker in Gaza.
This is a real headache, potentially, for Keir Starmer. Because, of course, that's, of course, as long as he survives until this comes into play, and if it does come into play, because who's he going to side with? This is part of Trump's plan, and it is going to be absolutely hated on the left. The idea of Tony Blair going into Gaza and running Gaza.
Or Gaza being run by an outsider.
And it will be painted as an occupying force.
Frankly, Theo, it will feel like that. I mean, that's what the Bosnians felt right under Paddy Ashdown, and that's what the Kosovans felt, is that they were second-class citizens compared to the internationals. And the internationals go in and they go, we know everything.
So who does Starmer back? Does he back Tony Blair and Donald Trump, or does he go with his party?
Well, in the end, he backs a peace plan for Gaza. And
but this peace plan?
He backs a peace plan that will be worked out. That anything, I mean, on the grounds that anything is better than what's happening at the moment.
Well, but that's the problem, isn't it? Because for many, a solution like this isn't better. It will just be seen as continuation, won't it?
No.
It has to be better than...
the killing has to stop, and B, I mean, one of the absolutes of this is that there's no annexation of the West Bank. Yeah. I mean, the question... I mean, the other question is whether Netanyahu... What did you say?
They'd have to go in it with an end game.
That's what they did with Iraq. How did that work out?
Did they have an end game?
Yeah, there never was an end game in Iraq.
All right, you two, we've got to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed. We'll see you later.
Time for the weather.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. It's a fine day once again for most of us, but turning increasingly cloudy towards the east and across central parts, whilst it becomes windy in the far north. In fact, it's a breezy day for many, but the strongest winds will increasingly be the north and west of Scotland as well as Northern Ireland. That breeze coming from the south means it's a little milder compared with recent days, but as the skies cloud over across the Midlands, the south and southeast, not going to feel quite as warm here. 16 or 17 Celsius, 1 or 2 showers coming out of that cloud. Otherwise, it's dry for the vast majority, and we keep the sunny skies for much of Scotland, Northern Ireland, Western England and Wales as we end the day. But you can see a few showers there across East Anglia and the southeast on Friday evening, so it's not entirely dry. A few breaks in the cloud here and there, but generally it is a cloudy picture. That does, of course, mean that overnight it's not going to be quite as cold. But for Scotland, Northern Ireland, plenty of bright weather as the sun goes down, and although it's windy, that wind's coming from the south, so it's not a cold wind compared with the start of the week where the winds were coming from the north. Now, on Friday night, we're going to see increasingly patchy cloud across many parts of the UK, and, of course, that breeze, so the air stirred up. That means a frost-free night for the vast majority, with temperatures several degrees higher compared with previous nights this week. So not a chilly start to Saturday, but it will be a wet start for Northern Ireland and Western Scotland as a fairly active weather front pushes into the west. It's going to slow down as it moves eastwards, only slowly peeling away from Northern Ireland and Western Scotland to allow brighter skies by the afternoon here, whilst it pushes into the rest of Scotland by lunchtime, western parts of England and Wales. Patchy rain towards the south, more persistent wet weather in the northwest, whilst it stays drier in the southeast with highs of 18 or 19 Celsius.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. In the south, overnight roadworks have restricted access to the A90 northbound in Dundee between the Coupar Angus interchange and Cleppington roundabout. Drivers should follow diversion routes. Expect longer journey times. Meanwhile, the M27 westbound between junction 7 and 5 has a broken down vehicle, causing one of 4 lanes to close. Motorists are advised to proceed with caution, and on the trains, Greater Anglia reports disruption between London Liverpool Street and Tottenham Hale. Additionally, Northern buses are replacing trains between Corkickle and Whitehaven, with further disruption between Halifax and Bradford interchange. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
This is your chance to win a motorhome and cash in our biggest giveaway to date. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be the proud owner of this 2025 Benamar Primero. It comfortably accommodates 4 people and can be driven on your standard driving licence. Plus, you'll also bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like. Make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
I think for far too long in this country, millions of people felt as though they weren't represented at all by the establishment media.
GB News was needed because there literally was no other voice. Everyone was saying the same thing.
GB News exists because there is a desperate need for fearless journalism that puts the people first.
GB News came on the scene as a disruptor, and it has always been a disruptor ever since.
The mainstream is all about keeping the status quo as it is, ticking along quite nicely. They don't want to ask difficult questions.
But journalism is journalism at the end of the day, and we're not here to serve any masters. Our masters are our audience.
Charlie Peters, he gave a voice to the victims of grooming gangs, and now, of course, it's led to a national inquiry.
GB News exists to make sure those concerns are put forward and people feel as though
they want to ask is put to those in power.
We don't take orders from anyone. We ask the questions our viewers and listeners want answering.
I know what's actually being discussed by my family and my friends. Us ordinary, hard-working British people have had enough. We've had enough.
They're fed up with the same old establishment nonsense. Everything that we do is opening up conversations that others are afraid to go at. Why are you illegally bringing people into Britain?
That is our job. Our job is to get to the truth.
If it's important to you watching or listening at home, then it's important to us as well.
That's what makes us the fearless champion of Britain.
Good morning. The age of ID cards looks set to begin.
Yes, the Prime Minister is preparing to apparently mandate virtual ID cards as part of a crackdown on illegal workers.
But look at this, 570,000 people have signed the petition.
That's gone up by
against it.
70,000 since we started. the
Yeah, it
programme.
has, yeah. It is jumping up. It begs the question, are these IDs really a silver bullet to restricting Britain's borders?
Well, on our Late Show Live, former President Trump spokesperson Jason Miller lashed out at the idea.
Bold strategy. There's an economic crisis that's going on, and there's an illegal boat migrant crisis. And so Starmer's solution is let's make everybody get a new ID card.
Well, the Prime Minister admits Labour got it wrong on migration as he prepares to tell world leaders to embrace patriotism.
And a new mega poll shows that Reform UK leader Nigel Farage is on course to be the next Prime Minister, with the Conservatives on the brink of extinction.
That's a song you'll remember from the 90s. Kenny Thomas is joining us in the studio in about 15 minutes, telling us about his new tour and his new single with Kim Wilde.
And sport this morning in the Europa League, Aston Villa finally get a win as Rangers lose again. But more importantly, across the weekend, the Ryder Cup gets underway at 12:10 UK time, with Europe looking to retain the trophy and expecting a very hostile reception in New York against the Americans. England face Canada, as we heard earlier, in the Women's Rugby World Cup final. That's at Twickenham tomorrow.
Another fine day for many of us today as high pressure hangs on. But will it last into the weekend, or is that just too much to ask? Full details in the forecast coming up soon.
Just gone 8 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Anne's still reading the birthdays.
I do like...
She loves it.
Your slot's gone.
I know, that's it. I'll never do it.
No, but this one would interest you. I would have thought Neil Coles, golfer, 8-time Ryder Cup player.
Oh, yes.
How old? Neil Coles.
Oh, he's got to be knocking on a bit now, Neil Coles. He's got to be in his 80s. 84?
Do you know?
No,
you see, I wouldn't know him. 91.
He's 91.
Yes. Yeah.
Is he?
There you go.
So I started off very well with Brian Ferry at 6 o'clock, and I've just gone downhill rapidly.
And I've tried to find birthdays that are relevant to sport.
Oh, I appreciate it.
I tell you what, though, people are getting better with age now, aren't they? I mean, there's a lady that I see at church every week who, Rosemary, good morning, Rosemary, she should be watching, and she must be 91 now, or 91 this year. What a lady.
Yeah.
And she's up and about and agile and sharp as a tack.
She'll come and see you on Sunday and go, I'm only 63, how dare you?
And she's always beautifully coiffured.
Yes.
And all that. And you just think, that's how we need to be at 91.
Yeah.
That's how we need to be.
People are younger now than that.
I was in a hotel in Wales the other day, and very near where you were, actually, and I was waiting for somebody to come and pick me up. It was a crew. We were going off filming somewhere. And there were two pretty old ladies sort of sitting at the table next to me. And I couldn't help earwigging because I was looking out the window to see if my ride was coming. And they were talking away, and they were absolutely sharp as a tack, as you say. And then one of them said, how's Mary? And she, I saw her just last week. She's all right. She's doing really well, but she is beginning to use a stick. And then the other lady said, well, I'm thinking I'd quite like to use a walking stick. Just help me get up the stairs and all the rest of it. Well, we are 92, you know. And I thought, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, people are setting the bar so high now.
Absolutely.
You know, obviously we're all going to have to keep working until we're at least 85.
Oh, yes.
But then you've got to look fit and be be sharp and everything. How are we all going to do it?
Yeah, my mum's 83 and she's unbelievable. She just does everything all the time, especially with computers and iPads and iPhones. And she keeps herself that way.
And that's
she
what
knows.
annoys me when we're talking, as we're going to be talking now about digital ID. A lot of people are saying, but what about older people? Because they're really, you know, they don't have smartphones and they don't understand. Excuse me, such a lot of people do. Doesn't matter how old.
You know, Anne, it's fear. It's fear. I honestly think it's like, I couldn't do that, but they're built to be simple. But there's a fear among certain generation going, oh, I couldn't use that. I wouldn't know how to do that. But if you have a go, then you find it's not actually as difficult as maybe you think it is.
Well, it is a controversial issue, there's no doubt. Shall we see what the Shadow Work and Pension Secretary, Helen Whately, makes of it all? Good morning to you. It's nice to see you. I mean, look, it's a fascinating debate, but it's fascinating to try and work out what the Conservatives are going to do about all of this, to be perfectly honest, because all we've really heard from your leader about this issue is that it's a very serious step that requires a proper national debate. Are the Conservatives for it or against it?
We're against the introduction of mandatory ID cards. We don't want to have a society where people can be stopped in the street and asked to show their ID. Completely opposed to that. And the fact is, this was an announcement rushed out at the last minute, and it's a last-minute thing from Keir Starmer to try and distract from all the problems. It's just a smokescreen for the failures of him and his government, for his failure to stop the boats, for his failure on the economy, for all the scandals from Angela Rayner, Peter Mandelson, and Morgan McSweeney, and questions over his own donations to his leadership campaign, this leadership contest from Andy Burnham. Keir Starmer is in so much trouble. People are so angry with him and his government, and so he's rushed this out just to try and move the headlines on.
Yeah, but this issue has come up time and again while the Conservatives were in power too. And it seemed that then you couldn't completely make up your mind about whether you were pro it or against it. What is Kemi Badenoch, what is her stance on this? Is she for digital ID or is she against?
Well, what she said, and she's put this out this morning, is that she is strongly against mandatory digital ID, the requirement that people should have to have a government, a state ID, because we just don't think that we should be that kind of society. So this is completely the wrong response from Keir Starmer to his failure to stop the boats. And actually, this is not going to be the answer to controlling immigration. And in fact, when he's talked about this particularly being focused on work and people showing an ID in order to be into work initially. The fact is, already you have to show an ID when you're getting a job. Employers already are legally required to check an ID. And the problem of illegal working is when that ID isn't checked, for instance, and people are just being paid in cash. So this completely won't solve the problem that Keir Starmer is trying to say it will solve. And I say it's just a distraction from the complete failures of his government.
OK, but if Kemi Badenoch is against the idea, as you say, why has she come out and said we need a national debate? What is there to debate if she thinks it's a bad idea?
So what she's talking about there, and this was initially when they just started hearing about some of these ideas, is that the public are interested in the idea of having easier ways to log into government services, and rather than having loads of different login, people like the idea of something that will make it more convenient and easier for them to access, whether it's their NHS details or whether it's for doing your tax return or different things like that. So people are open to the idea of kind of simpler digital ID systems. And of course, when at the moment lots of IDs are not digital, and things should move with the times. But that is a completely different thing from what actually looks like Keir Starmer is planning to introduce, which is a mandatory ID, and that's a whole other thing which she and I and the Conservative Party do not support.
I just wonder, is anyone going to really care what the Conservative Party thinks? I don't wish to sound... I'm not trying to sound rude about that. It's just that, I mean, there's yet another poll, a mega poll, this one, 13,000 people. It's been done by YouGov, and it said that Reform UK, if there was an election tomorrow, Reform would win 311 seats, Labour would fall to 144, Lib Dems 78, Conservatives 45. You'd be wiped out if there was an election tomorrow.
Look, I'll be straight. I know that it is a tough time for us as a party, but I talk to people all the time and out on the doorsteps and out in the street and in my constituency and everywhere. And what I hear time and again is people are very, very angry with Keir Starmer and his government. They feel they're being completely let down. They are still angry with us, in part because they got Keir Starmer because they were frustrated with us at the last election and frustrated with the outcomes of the pandemic and how the country was. So they voted for change, they voted for Keir Starmer. They don't like what they've got. And therefore, they look to Nigel Farage and Reform and they say, well, this is something different. But also, people say to me that they recognise Nigel Farage doesn't actually have any answers. He expresses people's anger. He expresses people's anger with immigration, for instance. But every time he comes out with a policy, it just unravels within hours. So they want somebody to be talking to them straight about the problems of this country. They're looking for answers, but they do know that Nigel Farage does not have those answers. He doesn't do the hard work. And actually, you need a party that's going to do the hard work and come up with the answers to the country's problems. And people also say to me on the doorstep, please, Conservatives, hang in there, because we're going to need you come the next election.
I was going to say, what is it like on the doorstep being Conservative at the moment? Because even the government doesn't recognise you as opposition anymore. They talk about Reform UK as being the opposition. I mean, it must be pretty depressing within the party at the moment. And there seems to be such a lot of infighting as well in the Conservative Party. You're not fit for government at the moment.
Not at all, actually. We are working extremely closely together and very united as a party and as a group of MPs in the shadow cabinet, for instance. But what I hear on the doorstep, I said, is that anger with Keir Starmer, actually including among Labour voters going to Reform. And this is one reason why the government is talking about Reform, is because Labour voters are going there. And actually, it's one reason you're reflecting that in some of the things that Nigel Farage says, like the fact that he would spend more money on benefits. And that's all part of his appeal to Labour voters. And that's why when I'm on the doorstep and people say to me, hang in there, we need the Conservatives because we need a party that we can trust on the economy. And we know you understand the economy. We know you understand about the importance of business and that some businesses that growth depends on the importance of backing the people who work hard and who are earning their own keep, that we understand the importance of living within our means and getting the welfare bill under control, work I've been doing as Shadow Secretary of State for Work and Pensions. So it's something that Farage has no answers on. His party has got a whole load of fantasy economics, which would be a disaster for this country. So people know that they're going to need us. And as I say, they say to me, hang in there because we're going to need you at the next election.
OK. Helen Whately, appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Joining us in the studio now, freedom campaigner and commentator Montgomery Toms. I wonder what you think. I mean, we were going to talk initially straight away about the digital ID business, but do you think the country is ready to forgive the Tories?
Look, forgiveness requires repentance, and I think there's a backlog of repentance that's needed from the Conservative Party, the Labour Party. Both of them, if you ask me, are very, very similar. And I don't think they can just rewrite their history, especially over the past 5 years, what we saw with lockdowns, what we saw with the vaccine mandates, which actually brings me on to kind of digital IDs, etc., if you want me to explore that.
Yes, please. Yes. What do you think of the idea? Particularly, it was interesting the way she answered. She said Kemi Badenoch is against mandatory IDs, which... the way she stressed it suggested it was the mandatory nature of the ideas. But maybe digital ID is needed?
No. I mean, look, the mandate is obviously a very relevant factor here, but I'm against digital ID, full stop. We do not have a papers police society in this country. Winston Churchill abolished ID cards after the war. Tony Blair tried to bring them back in 2010. we got rid of them. We do that for a reason, because we believe in freedom, we believe in sovereignty, we believe in inalienable rights in this country.
But that's, I mean, Helen Whately made the same point. She said, we don't want people up and down the country, but you can be stopped and asked to prove who you are. But that's not what's being suggested here. This is digital IDs that you would need to prove that you have a right to rent and a right to work.
So my answer to that would be, you're quite right. However, what does it pave the way towards?
Yeah, but are you scaremongering with that?
I'm not scaremongering. I think we've seen definitely over the past 5 years terrifying dips towards authoritarian regimes, looking at lockdown, looking at mass surveillance. We're more surveilled in London than any other city in Europe, and yet we have knife crime through the roof. We have burglaries still. We can't get police officers to just turn up to people's houses after they've had a burglary. We're in a situation where surveillance isn't going to solve that. What it's going to do is it's going to track us, it's going to monitor us, it's going to pave the way towards a social credit system. And while we've got the likes of the United Nations or World Economic Forum infiltrating and influencing our government constantly, I think they're scaremongering. I think they're the ones that are attacking our democracy, our sovereignty. And I think that I can't see one benefit, direct benefit, for mandating digital IDs or just having them in general. They have them, for example, they have IDs in Italy. Their migration is through the roof, especially illegal migration. So it's made no difference. So I just can't see why there is a benefit here.
And there is also, I think the thing that worries me is there is such a lot of money in data. And data is, if they had data on each and every one of us, centralised in some way, that data will be worth a fortune to somebody one day, maybe.
Massive risks of cyber attacks. We've seen like the Afghan data breach that wasn't that long ago. You know, we have data all being centralised in one place anyway is a concern. And then you've also got the exclusion of the elderly. I mean, my nan, for example, she won't touch digital ID. I spoke to her about it. She doesn't even do online banking. She uses cash. She believes in cash. She believes in supporting local businesses. She doesn't want a digital ID. She doesn't want to be watched. She doesn't want to be surveilled. And she completely rejects it. So obviously that's just my nan. But I know that many other people completely reject the idea of wanting to be tracked, monitored, heading in the direction of a cashless society. There's no benefit to it. It's authoritarian.
All right. The point is, Simon Calder was saying to us earlier on, the reality is, you know, talk about the database and the information. The government's already got that information. It might not be all on one single database, but they've already got that information that can be hacked. We are already tracked, because most of us do not turn tracking off on our phones. So every single thing we do, everything you say you're frightened of, is already happening. It's just not collated.
Yeah, so I would then draw on something that we touched on at the beginning of this conversation, which would be the mandate. We can still choose to put... It's not the state's job to force us and mandate us to have a digital ID or a vaccine passport, tell us where to go, tell us what to do. We're looking at, with net zero, for example, and the amount of pressure there is for kind of carbon credits and all sorts of things. We can't be incentivised by our behaviour and almost watched and monitored and forced to do it. This is England. We're meant to be the land of the free. We uphold common law in this country, but this seems to have been forgotten. And the fact that that's not being brought to the forefront of this conversation is what's really concerning. And that's why I advocate for debate. I also work with Together Declaration, with Alan Miller, etc. And we've been fighting against digital IDs and talking about this since 2021 onwards, really, and before. And that's for good reason. We don't believe in a papers, please culture.
The petition we've been talking about, which is opposing the idea of digital IDs, has gone up almost by 100,000 since we went on air. I don't know. There we can see it.
588,000.
All right, it's getting very, yes. I think when we went on air, it had just reached 500,000.
Yeah. So it's going up, but it's 600,000 people out of a population of 60 million.
Yeah, I know, but
what impact will it have on the politicians? Probably none. I don't know that any of these petitions actually impact what politicians do. They debate it and then ignore it, don't they? Unfortunately. Montgomery, really good to see you. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks so much.
Very succinctly. GB News, of course, we want to know what you think. So our poll of the day today, are digital IDs an attack on our freedom? We'll bring you live results throughout the day. The final result in Martin's show later. You can go to gbnews.com/poll or scan that QR code, which is on your screen.
Right now, as it comes up to 8:18, time for the weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. It's a fine day once again for most of us, but turning increasingly cloudy towards the east and across central parts, whilst it becomes windy in the far north. In fact, it's a breezy day for many, but the strongest winds will increasingly be the north and west of Scotland as well as Northern Ireland. That breeze coming from the south means it's a little milder compared with recent days, but as the skies cloud over across the Midlands, the south and southeast, not going to feel quite as warm here. 16 or 17 Celsius, 1 or 2 showers coming out of that cloud. Otherwise, it's dry for the vast majority, and we keep the sunny skies for much of Scotland, Northern Ireland, Western England and Wales as we end the day. But you can see a few showers there across East Anglia and the southeast on Friday evening, so it's not entirely dry. A few breaks in the cloud here and there, but generally it is a cloudy picture. That does, of course, mean that overnight it's not going to be quite as cold. But for Scotland, Northern Ireland, plenty of bright weather as the sun goes down, and although it's windy, that wind's coming from the south, so it's not a cold wind compared with the start of the week where the winds were coming from the north. Now, on Friday night, we're going to see increasingly patchy cloud across many parts of the UK and, of course, that breeze, so the air stirred up. That means a frost-free night for the vast majority, with temperatures several degrees higher compared with previous nights this week. So not a chilly start to Saturday, but it will be a wet start for Northern Ireland and Western Scotland as a fairly active weather front pushes into the west. It's going to slow down as it moves eastwards, only slowly peeling away from Northern Ireland and Western Scotland to allow brighter skies by the afternoon here, whilst it pushes into the rest of Scotland by lunchtime, western parts of England and Wales. Patchy rain towards the south, more persistent wet weather in the northwest, whilst it stays drier in the southeast with highs of 18 or 19 Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Time. No, I was just going to say, because we sometimes moan about young people, don't we?
Yeah.
He was very young, our last guest. And whether you agree with him or not...
My goodness.
What a good speaker.
Yes, yeah.
What a very good, succinct speaker who could actually take, you know, sort of pointed questions and give a response. It's up to you to decide whether you agree with him or not.
We might be seeing more of him, I think.
I think we will. Montgomery Thompson. It's 20. It's 20.
Really amazing. Good.
But very, very switched on.
Yeah.
And that's what we need. We need young people who have got a position, who can debate it, and be challenged on it and respond in their own way. I think that's a really positive thing for the country.
But do so in a calm way that absolutely says what he wants to say and no more. Fascinating.
Scary.
Yeah, we were both scared to find out he was only 20. Gosh.
That does feel
Good
old.
for him. Yeah. OK, it's time for the Great British Giveaway now. Still plenty of time for you to take part. Here's how.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Right. Who remembers this?
You know I'll never change, 'cause I'm thinking about your love tonight, today, and always.
Well, I was going to say that Kenny Thomas will be joining us in a few minutes to talk about, you know, it sounds as though you could do it without him. He's singing along really well.
Singing along.
Yeah.
Yes, nowhere near as good as Kenny Thomas. He's back. He's got a new tour. He's got a new single out with Kim Wilde.
Which is terrific.
We love Kim.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's going to be joining us in just a couple of minutes.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
I've got dressed up as a pilot sitting in an actual real-life Spitfire. This is not just a simulator. This is a real-life Spitfire that's been kitted out to do simulations here at the Spitfire Centre in Blackpool. John Puttock joins us now. You're the engineering lead here. And this is quite a fancy bit of kit and really, I guess, you know, lets people experience what those pilots would have done 85 years ago.
Absolutely. This aeroplane, you know, is part of the hangar display here at Blackpool, and Andy Harper, our specialist, actually put this aeroplane together and has enabled it to act and behave exactly like a real aircraft would. And you know, it's available to the public to come up and have a go and see if they can fly a Spitfire.
And tell us about the significance of this aircraft 85 years ago, the Battle of Britain. Things start to turn in Britain's favour.
Absolutely. This is a Mark V Spitfire. Early days they were using the Mark II, and that aircraft had 8 Browning machine guns, firing 303 bullets. This Mark V actually incorporated some 20mm Hispano cannons, and so gave the aircraft a lot more punch and enabled it to be more successful.
And I've got all of this gear on. A lot of it is kind of fur and real thermal stuff. That's because the temperature up there at the height, at the altitude that they were flying, was absolutely freezing.
Absolutely. I mean, the higher you go, then obviously the colder it gets. But if you're at around about 25,000 feet, you're going to be experiencing temperatures of between -25 and 30. There is no heating in the aircraft, so from that point of view, the only way you're going to stay warm is to dress for it. So, as the Queen once said, there's no such thing as the wrong weather, it's just the wrong clothing.
The People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I'll never change, 'cause I'm thinking about your love tonight, today, and always.
What a great tune that was from the 90s. Thinking About Your Love, Kenny Thomas. It was a great tune. It was a great time in music somehow. Maybe I say that because I was a sort of teenager in early 20s then. But it was just a really good time. I think so. Anyway, here's another one of his hits.
Can tell you why I feel the way I do, because you're something special.
Oh, that was those were the days.
Oh, yeah.
Those were the days when they put you in a studio with lots of, you know, dry eyes, lots of lights and everything.
And got you to mime.
Yeah.
They did indeed, yeah. Well, we mimed for a few of them. I did 9 Top of the Pops, but eventually I think the last 4 of them were live.
Right.
And that's sort of,
It was a very
they went to Elstree, didn't they?
Yeah,
they went completely live.
Mark Franklin took...
Yeah, they went completely live, and then they invited me on to do that, which I think was an album track.
But you know you've made it, didn't you? You used to know you made it when you got invited on to Top
You
of the
thought
Pops.
you'd made it, yeah.
But it's probably really nerve-wracking, actually, first time on Top of the Pops.
The first one, yeah. I remember it was presented by Bruno Brooks, and it was, and I was a little bit nervy, but as you went on, you got used to it. But eventually they abandoned the completely live thing because there were artists that wouldn't come on because they wanted to mime, you know.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, everything changes, but nothing changes like nostalgia and the value of nostalgia.
Yeah.
So I suppose that's what you're doing now. Is the legacy? It's the I don't know. You've got a tour coming up. It's not till March, though.
Yeah, we toured last year. We're doing bigger. I'm doing bigger venues now with the band than we did back in the 90s. So it's crazy. But we've got another tour in March of 2026, and that sort of culminates, or in the middle of it, not culminates, but in the middle of it is the Hammersmith Apollo, or the Odeons, I still like to call it.
It's the big one.
The Mecca of soul music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it must be quite something, though, after being in the business for such a long time, to see the audience is growing, and to know that actually those classic tracks still hold so much appeal.
Yeah, and they still get played, and you know, also I add new music to it, new albums to it, but the old ones are still staying true and strong. And yeah, and there's some youngsters coming into the scene.
I was just going to say, also coming into the audience, what age group?
At the festivals, I mean, you know, and the weekend just gone, we did a weekend, what we call a weekender, and there was some, you know, people out there in their 20s, and you think, well, you clearly weren't born when I was having the hits, but maybe they've been indoctrinated by a parent, an uncle or grandparent, or in my case, maybe even a great-grandparent.
They just heard the music and like it.
Well,
maybe. Well, yeah, and then there's the uptake of vinyl and people buying things like that, and the youngsters are doing that, getting into the records.
What about you? Because in the day, I suppose, you know, how would your night have ended? You'd have done the gig, and then you'd have been partying all the rest of the night.
It would have ended that way back then, yes.
I'll go watch a
what now?
Now it's sort of early to bed and try and early to rise. But no, certainly back then it would have been, we would have gone for it, and we were youngsters, and we were sort of doing the whole social thing. And then you were going to many events as well, and a record company were forcing you to go to the opening of this and the opening of that. But certainly as you get older, you become a bit wiser, and you realise, well, it's, you know...
You learn you can say no.
Yeah, you've got to conserve your energy, especially on tour. You've got to conserve the energy and look after yourself.
But I mean, you have got the tour coming out, the Unstoppable tour next year, with the Unstoppable album that came out in August. First one in 15 years, isn't it?
I mean, there were other recordings and sort of things where I did guest vocals on tracks, but that's the first proper studio album that I put together, body of work. Well, it felt right. It's off the back of all the tours which have grown. It's a good time to put new music out. The fans were demanding it, and they were saying, "When's another album coming?" And it just, as I say, we recorded it, took our time with it, and working with a Swedish producer called Oppo Loppo.
Called what? Sorry.
Oppo Loppo.
Oh right, okay.
Or you could sort of shorten it up. Oppo.
Yeah.
No, so that's great sound. It's like a future funk, soul, slightly dance sound.
Oh right.
Very electronic, and it's been.
And as I keep saying, you've got a single on there with Kim Wilde.
With Kim Wilde, yeah.
I love Kim.
Yeah, we're friends from back in the day, and friends with her brother Ricky and the family, and so it was just a natural progression, or it was a suggestion by someone, and I thought, wow, it was staring me in the face. Why haven't I done this before? And got her to go, you know, to jump onto the record, do some ad libs and some vocals.
Is that a totally new song?
Yeah, it's a new song that I wrote. Yeah, and she sounds great. Yeah.
Well, she would.
The whole album's original. It's all original. Yeah.
So it'd be nice to get on tour to promote that album and just throw a few golden oldies in there.
Oh, we always do. Yeah. You'll be in trouble if you don't throw them in there. So
it was
new and old, but majority of the old stuff.
So if the tour is not till March, are the tickets on sale yet? That's what people will want to know.
They are. They're on sale, and you can find those. Go to kennythomasmusic.com or the usual ticket outlets, and you'll find those. And then we're adding more dates to it. I think there's another 3 that we're talking about adding on to the front of the tour. So it'll get busy and it will keep us out of trouble.
Good. You know, it's really good to see you.
Good to see you.
It's lovely to hear you as well. And do give Kim our love too.
I will, Yes, she's in great voice, and she's busier than ever.
All right, we're going to get online and buy some tickets now. Kenny, thank you very much indeed.
Pleasure.
Now, if you're travelling to work or school this morning, here's your traffic and travel update.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Road users should note overnight maintenance on the A90 in Dundee. Northbound lanes between the Coupar Angus interchange and Cleppington roundabout are restricted, with no access from these junctions. Drivers are urged to follow diversion routes and expect extended travel times. Southbound, the M1 at junction 11 in Luton is delayed due to a broken down vehicle. Only one lane is open and normal traffic conditions are anticipated shortly. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast reports disruptions between Stafford and Nuneaton, while Greater Anglia experiences issues between London Liverpool Street and Tottenham Hale. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Still to come, mandatory, not IDs, we've been talking about that, but mandatory reading tests in schools. Apparently that's going to happen to find out if literacy rates are indeed in crisis. Find out more about that in a couple of moments.
Before that, though, the Ryder Cup starts in New York later on today. Paul's going to be speaking to the top golfer Marco Penge in just a minute.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Right, Paul Coyte's got all the sports. Should we talk Ryder Cup?
Oh, so excited about the Ryder Cup. I think everybody that enjoys golf and enjoys the Ryder Cup, nobody is more excited than they have been for this one, which is in New York. We are the current holders of the Ryder Cup, but to go over to America, it's always different. You know, it's always more difficult. They hate coming over here, but the crowds are horrible. They really are. And what the team is having to face, screaming, shouting, all that.
Is that good horrible or really bad horrible?
No, it's bad horrible. It's Matt Fitzpatrick. His parents have decided not to. One of our finest players. He's thought, you know what, we'll give this a miss.
Oh,
you know, it really can be. But then it makes it even more enjoyable, Anne, when you win. you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because then you've got to try and silence the crowd. Now, there's a professional golfer, fantastic golfer, who didn't quite make it and nearly made it into the team, but we're more pleased because he's with us right now. Marco Penge joins us. He was the winner of the Danish Open this year. He's had a really good season. Morning, Marco.
Hi, guys. You all right?
Yeah, really good to see it. Listen, it was close, though, wasn't it? You could have been... I don't want to... The last thing you want to hear is be told how close you were, but it was close to making the team for you, wasn't it, this year?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I was the first man to miss out, but, you know, I can't complain. I've had a great season. I think Luke has, you know, he's gone with his experienced players. Like we said, it's going to be a tough one for the guys to deal with the outside noise. So, yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to cheering on the guys later on.
So tell me about, you obviously know, I imagine, most of the players and even the American players as well. How are they going to respond to this? Because I don't know whether they've spoken to you about it. You can either fight fire with fire because there's all the crowds are going to be just so annoying, or just keep that stiff upper lip and maybe just raise the eyebrow when a 15-foot putt goes in. How will they react to it? It must have been discussed.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's obviously, looking at it from the outside, it's easy to think, you know, it's going to be really tough for the players. But, you know, you've got to remember that the 12 guys on the European team, you know, they're all, you know, major champions, been at the top of the game for a long time. You know, I think there's only one rookie there in Rasmus who's a great player. So, you know, the lads will know how to deal with the pressure. They're used to playing in front of big crowds and playing tournaments where, you know, they want someone else to win, etc. So, you know, they need to make sure that they get off to a fast start and try and quieten the crowd as soon as possible, I suppose.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the foursomes, isn't it? It kicks off with it at 12:10. But the thing is, where's the difference then? Because if you are great golfers and you're playing on a golf course, I suppose you could say about any sport, home and away, what gives the advantage to the Americans?
You know, they can obviously set up the course how they want, how it suits their players best. You know, I'm sure they would have looked at the statistics of the European team and the American team and tried to find their advantages. So, you know, that would firstly be the big one that they do. And then obviously the home crowd, there'll obviously be a lot more USA support than European support there. So, you know, they would be the two main ones, I think. But, you know, personally, I think Europe are a more informed team. You know, Rory, Tommy, them guys have been playing amazing the last couple of months. So I think it's going to be a really tight Ryder Cup and, you know, it's going to be whoever holds the most putts at the end of the day, I think.
Of course it is. But who's it going to be? What do you think? Are you going to put your neck on the line and say we're going to win this? Or retain it? We only need 14 points?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a pretty similar team to when Europe won back in Rome. So, you know, I personally think Europe will just win. I think it's going to be pretty tight. You know, I think it'll come down to the last couple of matches on Sunday. But it's a really tough one to call. I would say it's probably the hardest one to call since I've been watching the Ryder Cup.
See, you're probably as superstitious as I am. I don't want to say. You just don't want to... You're hoping, but you don't actually want to say. And finally, very briefly, are you a shouter? You get very excited when you're watching it there on the sofa, or are you very calm and serene when you're watching it?
Starting off calm, and then I think as the week goes on, getting more and more pumped up. But, you know, for me personally, watching it, it's inspirational. And, you know, the guys playing for Europe and even America, you know, they're players that I idolise. And, you know, it's a tournament that I want to be a part with when I'm older. So, yeah, you know, I'll be getting pretty emotional, I think, and very passionate over the weekend.
Can't wait, and plenty of years, like you say, you've got ahead of you, so maybe in a couple of years, if it's not 4, we'll definitely see you part of that team. I'm sure about that. Marco, really good to speak to you. Enjoy the weekend.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thanks a lot. Fantastic golfer, Marco Penge.
Yeah. You are funny. You've got the women's rugby and you've got the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
Both of which you are too excited about to actually worry.
And Spurs at home to Wolves. So that's the big three. That's your big three.
Well, what are you going to do?
I'm going to shake, and I'm going to be... And also, and if it goes late Sunday night, I'm not going to leave, so I usually get to bed by 9, so Sunday night I'm going to be up late, so Monday morning...
You're going to be asleep
I could be a little tricky Monday morning, but
worth tuning in.
It's going to be worth... I can't wait. Very excited.
Paul, good to see you. Thank you very much.
Have a good weekend.
Right, still to come, Scarlett and Theo were taking us through the papers. There's a campaign to stop theatre goers drinking booze during the show. But first, here's the European forecast.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean all clear skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you're wondering where's good for the weather or heading south during the next few days, be aware there's a next hurricane approaching Portugal whilst it's staying breezy through Greece, particularly the Greek islands. Nothing too unusual about that. But for Italy, increasingly unsettled, some heavy rain and thunderstorms, particularly towards the south, and for Sicily. Across Iberia, settled on Saturday, but here's that ex-hurricane likely to bring some strong winds and heavy rain into Portugal in particular later in the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Now, cast your mind back 20 years to bin man turned X Factor star Andy Abraham. He is back and he's got a new single called Everything That You Do. Let's have a listen.
We're still in love and it feels so amazing. You make me feel there's nothing that I...
Well, Andy joins us now. It's great to see you. It's a fantastic tune. Why all this and why now?
Do you know, 20 years is a good time to team up with a fantastic producer. And so we come up with this tune and it's, yeah, everybody seems to be liking it. So that's the main thing. But 20 years since X Factor and all that craziness that I went through. So I figured, why not go back into it?
Where has that time gone? So what have you been getting up to in the intervening period?
Oh God, I've been getting up to all sorts, to be honest, but I've still looked the same, obviously. Still bald. Yeah, I'm just loving life, you know, just enjoying my time with my family. I've been touring, releasing albums. So yeah, I'm looking to release another album. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, we'll see where it goes. The industry has changed so much, you know. There isn't really a focal point anymore like a Top of the Pops. There just seems to be so many different types of social media outlets, and yeah, it feels like there's a lot more work to be done. You know what I mean? But I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it either way. I just love writing songs and teaming up with fantastic producers like Benjamin, and yeah, hopefully it does really, really well.
Well, I hope it does, because it's a really good tune.
Good luck,
Andy,
Andy.
it's great to see you. Thank you very much indeed.
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Right, should we go through the papers? Honestly, the conversations don't start on time. We start everything early. You just sort of join us halfway through the discussions at the moment. These two can't stop chitter-chattering. It's Theo Usherwood and Scarlett Maguire. Good morning to you both. Let's talk mandatory reading tests in the Times.
So one would think that by the time you get to secondary school, you can read, because in my day, we didn't have reading tests. But
we didn't. We were making that point. We didn't have reading tests because the assumption was that you could read at that age.
No, absolutely. But actually, I don't know what went wrong, but what happens, which is very, very common, is that when children change from primary to secondary school, they go backwards. I mean, that they're not given the same attention. They're not. I mean, I remember having to explain to my son that every teacher only had 45 minutes with him, and so the fact that he couldn't spell meant that they just thought he was stupid and maybe he should improve. So what this is doing is it's trying to catch, because quite rightly, we want all our children to be able to read.
Yes.
That is the very least. And if they can't, we need to do something. And so I think it's really important. I think it's really good that the government, that Bridget Phillipson is bringing back reading tests.
It's too late,
at age 13.
It's too late, isn't it?
Actually, I was just thinking, as you said that,
GCSEs
is it still important for somebody to be able to read?
It's really imperative.
We live in a digital world.
We live in a digital world.
You speak to your phone.
No,
now.
but you also read. I think it really is. I think it's. I mean, it's.
I'm only asking, but it's an interesting thought.
Signs.
I'm not sure spelling is necessarily as important.
No, handwriting.
Or handwriting is important, but you need to be able to read in the first place. I think you could do a lot of dictation. AI is going to, you can repurpose things. I already repurpose emails using AI now to make sure that they're all perfect, topped and tailed. But I think children need to be able to read. Everybody needs to be able to read, and if you can't, then that's it's a major. It's going to hinder everything.
They always say, don't
personal life through to your
anyone
career.
who's been in prison. You've worked in prisons, and I know that I was reading not Bjorn Borg, Boris Becker, his account of what it was like in prison. And if you go in as somebody who can read and write, you immediately become useful to your cellmates or whatever, because that's something they cannot do.
And
usually.
I mean, what it shows is what happens when you can't read, when you can't really exist in the world, and you end up in. I mean, it's a terrible proportion of people in prison who are completely illiterate. And actually, it's really, really important that schools are trying to do something, because obviously most children can read and it's not a problem, but the ones that can't need a lot of help.
I would have thought the intervention is better in primary school. If you do this in year 5, then I think there's a much better chance.
But there is. I mean, there's masses of work in primary schools. No, but what she's saying is what is well known is that you go backwards when you get into secondary school.
But do you lose the skill? I appreciate that point. I don't disagree with you, but you go backwards to the point where you lose the ability.
I suppose if you're teetering on the edge of literacy.
I mean, if you're finding lessons difficult and you're not really doing, it's picking it up.
I mean, look, let's view it as a positive in that sense. Theo, can we have a look at Andy Burnham, Prime Minister Burnham?
King of the North.
There's the King of the North, and it's all in the fallout, isn't it? And it's right across the papers and online. Your political news today from that interview, two interviews, one he gave to the Telegraph, the other to the New Statesman, and the line that Number 10, of course, seized on, and you heard from Keir Starmer in response, Andy Burnham saying we should no longer be in hock to the bond markets, and that was a real misstep from Andy Burnham, because it allowed Keir Starmer to jump on it and say, well, we don't want to return to Liz Truss. He seems to have gone too early. He's blown it a bit. We're going into the Labour conference, and I think Labour MPs, if you're talking about, Andy Burnham, OK, 1 or 2 days, fine. But if you're talking about him 3 or 4 days, or, this sort of quite egotistical way of, thinking that everybody's asking me to do it, to run to be Prime Minister, I don't think it sits well. And he's not, we've now got...
not when you then come out with a plan to borrow 40 billion to build more homes and all the rest of it.
Well, I mean, the Financial Times says Burnham's borrowing spree would rock gilts and hurt sterling. Investors warn. I mean, this isn't Keir Starmer going for him. This is the Financial Times. I mean, the problem with Andy Burnham is yes, he's a great mayor of Manchester, and it's
not all people agree with that.
No, but I think he's done an awful lot of good in Manchester. However, we do have to remember twice he's gone for the Labour leadership, and twice he's got nowhere near it. And
he's further from it now than ever. I mean, he's not an MP.
He's not even an MP. But also, this happens an awful lot at Labour Party conferences up in the north. Is that suddenly you hear about Andy Burnham, and I mean, what? the Labour Party does not really like regicide. I mean, the Tories are very good at it. Labour's really useless at it. Yeah. And so a lot of people... So it was interesting at the beginning. There was this mainstream. It looked as though... But now, I think it's over.
We've just got a minute left. Can we have a look at Brits going on autopilot, Theo? Are you on autopilot this morning?
No, I'm not on autopilot this morning. I wouldn't necessarily wander into the studio.
What does this mean, though, that we're on autopilot?
Apparently, we spend 2.5 hours a day just sort of floating through, doing all of the things we... whether it's brushing our teeth or going on our commute without actually thinking about what we're actually doing. I used to commute, and sometimes... I have been known, you think you're doing a particular route on the underground and it's in line with what you...
You forget where you are.
You forget where you are, you get on the train that you'd ordinarily take and it's a different one that you actually need. But I'm not sure it's something that necessarily I think too much about, but I think it was just the only other thing I'd add to the survey that was an interesting thing of the survey is people feeling not necessarily that they've got sort of enough about their lives, that there's something that they want to kind of switch up and get more out of life. And if they're just spending, 2.5, 3 hours a day just sort of going through the motions, I don't think that's necessary.
But you don't have to be productive every minute of the day.
No, and also a lot of it is that they say, it's when you're cooking and things like that, which, it's fine to think about other things.
Yeah, quite right too. It's switch off every now and then.
Yeah.
Right, you two, thank you very much indeed. It's been a pleasure.
Time for the weather.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. It's a fine day once again for most of us, but turning increasingly cloudy towards the east and across central parts, whilst it becomes windy in the far north. In fact, it's a breezy day for many, but the strongest winds will increasingly be the north and west of Scotland as well as Northern Ireland. That breeze coming from the south means it's a little milder compared with recent days, but as the skies cloud over across the Midlands, the south and southeast, not going to feel quite as warm here. 16 or 17 Celsius, 1 or 2 showers coming out of that cloud. Otherwise, it's dry for the vast majority, and we keep the sunny skies for much of Scotland, Northern Ireland, Western England and Wales as we end the day. But you can see a few showers there across East Anglia and the southeast on Friday evening, so it's not entirely dry. A few breaks in the cloud here and there, but generally it is a cloudy picture. That does, of course, mean that overnight it's not going to be quite as cold. But for Scotland, Northern Ireland, plenty of bright weather as the sun goes down, and although it's windy, that wind's coming from the south, so it's not a cold wind compared with the start of the week where the winds were coming from the north. Now, on Friday night, we're going to see increasingly patchy cloud across many parts of the UK and, of course, that breeze, so the air stirred up. That means a frost-free night for the vast majority, with temperatures several degrees higher compared with previous nights this week. So not a chilly start to Saturday, but it will be a wet start for Northern Ireland and Western Scotland as a fairly active weather front pushes into the west. It's going to slow down as it moves eastwards, only slowly peeling away from Northern Ireland and Western Scotland to allow brighter skies by the afternoon here, whilst it pushes into the rest of Scotland by lunchtime, western parts of England and Wales. Patchy rain towards the south, more persistent wet weather in the northwest, whilst it stays drier in the southeast with highs of 18 or 19 Celsius.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Due to planned maintenance on the A90 in Dundee, the road is restricted northbound between the Coupar Angus interchange and Cleppington roundabout, with no access from either junction. Drivers should follow signed diversion routes and expect delays. At junction 11 on the M1 southbound, a broken down vehicle has closed one lane and is anticipated to be cleared by 9:03 this morning. Motorists on the A21 southbound at the junction with the A225 in Kent face a 10-minute delay. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast between Stafford and Nuneaton, and Greater Anglia services between London Liverpool Street and Tottenham Hale are affected. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benamar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Good morning. More than 600,000 people sign a petition to protest against the introduction of digital IDs.
As the Prime Minister prepares to mandate virtual ID cards as part of a crackdown, he says, on illegal workers.
Is it really a silver bullet to the solution? I mean, look at that at the minute. 634,000. It's gone up 135,000 since we came on air this morning. Earlier, we spoke to the Shadow Work and Pension Secretary, Helen Whately.
Don't want to have a society where people can be stopped in the street and asked to show their ID. Completely opposed to that.
Sir Keir Starmer admits they got it wrong on migration and Brits' concerns were ignored. But are ID cards the answer to tackle illegal migration? We're hearing from the PM himself within 2 hours.
Well, as we heard from Chris, the PM has said he didn't get it right on migration, or at least some parts of the Labour Party didn't get it right. It's an interesting move.
Well, yes, and one of his solutions, of course, is digital IDs, which appears, at the moment at least, to be going down like a cup of sick.
Well, a new mega poll shows that Reform UK leader Nigel Farage is on course to be the next Prime Minister, with the Conservatives on the brink of extinction.
The government announces billions of pounds worth of investment in Britain's high streets. Will it revive local economies?
Another fine day for many of us today as high pressure hangs on. But will it last into the weekend, or is that just too much to ask? Full details in the forecast coming up soon.
It's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Dear me. I'm sorry, I've been put off my stride by Mark White, our Home and Security Editor.
I like to
help
where I can.
But it is a phrase that lots of people use, and we know exactly what you mean by it.
Well, I also think he's misjudged the public mood. He seems to think that, you know, there is a change in the public perception of ID cards since Tony Blair tried to introduce them back in the early 2000s. I'm not so sure. I honestly think that people are even less trusting of the authorities now than they were back then.
Yeah, it's interesting. Mark, we're going to come back to you in a tick. In the meantime, on this whole issue, and it's not going down very well, 600,000 people, well, more than, it'd be about 640,000 by now, have signed this petition wanting this to be stopped in its tracks. But we are going to get that speech from the Prime Minister later on today. Christopher Hope, our political editor, is sort of standing by, ready for that. I mean, he seems determined to plough on, Chris, but as we're saying, it's not proving popular.
No, it's not. And I think the question about ID cards is, should we all be mandated to have some form of digital ID because this government can't control the southern border, as Mark White repeatedly reminds the government with his reporting from down the south coast. There's a problem here. They're not stopping the small boats crossing. These people then disappear into the black economy. Yes, Emmanuel Macron is right. That is a pull factor. But is it right that pensioners who may want to work have to try and find to carry digital ID? All sorts of questions here. There's, for example, 2.4 million pensioners who aren't on the internet. Will they be required to carry some form of paper, some form of ID card? You know, papers, please, granny. Is that what's going to happen next? I think it's a long debate here, and the scale of those numbers signing up for that petition, which is barely a day or two old, I think is extraordinary. It does show that there's a big debate to be won here by the government, but the polls show that more than half of people do support ID cards, but the concern is what happens to their data. Is there a data breach? What happens then? The politics of it is interesting. I think Kemi Badenoch last night said there's good and bad points about it. I thought she was very equivocational last night, whereas Nigel Farage was vehemently against immediately. On our shows last night on State of the Nation, we heard Andrew Griffiths. He's against it. This morning, Helen Whately, she's against it. Will we hear a more stronger language from Kemi Badenoch later? Other parties, Lib Dems are against it. There's concerns in Northern Ireland. There's a Sinn Féin First Minister there saying why should people there who don't really support being part of the UK carry something called a Brit card? Is that right? There's loads of questions to be answered, but the language from the PM today, we'll be hearing him saying that Labour did shy away, he'll say, from people's concerns about illegal migration. The belief that uncontrolled illegal migration, he'll say, was nothing but good news, as frankly the left have thought for a while, for it should never been accepted by the left. He's coming round really to where a lot of people are concerned about these numbers coming through the door, legal and illegal, and it's a big change of tone here from Sir Keir Starmer.
But he obviously wouldn't be announcing it unless he thought it was really good news that we would welcome, as a way of stopping the boats, as it were, smashing the gangs, or at least getting illegal migration down in numbers, making the country less attractive. But it doesn't seem to be going down that way, and it's not going to stop the boats, is it?
Well, and it may stop people arriving here then disappearing into what they call the shadow or the black economy. So it may help do that. I mean, I think there's different approaches to the boats. Some would say leaving the European Convention on Human Rights is a sledgehammer to crack a nut. It's a big dramatic moment to deal with a difficult issue, but a small issue compared to the scale of the ECHR. So there are different kind of blunderbusses being used by different parties to tackle the issue of illegal migration. Reforms say ECHR withdrawal. The Tories might say that at their conference next month. It seems Labour's answer is ID cards for all of us, and that also is deeply controversial. And I think already it's opening up a dividing line in politics with people like Nigel Farage and others against it, and of course Keir Starmer in favour of it. But later on we'll hear from the PM in that speech. He'll try and re-adopt the word patriotism from a left point of view, saying that he'll raise concerns about that march led by Tommy Robinson a few weeks ago. He's concerned about that. I think it's been a real moment here for this government to try to take on the issue of the concern about immigration and small boats crisis.
OK, Chris, thanks very much indeed. Let's talk to the Culture Secretary, Lisa Nandy, who joins us now. It's great to have you on the programme. Thanks for your time. Can we clear up a couple of bits about this? Because there's been conflicting reports this morning. Is this going to be a mandatory scheme for all British adults?
Yes, all British adults will have a digital ID by the end of this Parliament. but it's not like an ID card scheme where you would be required to carry that around and show it to access services. The only thing that we will require people to produce a digital ID for is to work in this country, which we think will have a significant impact in helping us, alongside other measures, to tackle illegal migration.
But it changes the default position of the average citizen, doesn't it? It's almost as though we are having to prove that we are legal in order to prevent the illegals getting work. It doesn't seem very British having to do that.
I don't think it does change the default in that it ensures that people who have the right to work can work, and it protects British people from being undercut by a legal market in employment, which, you know, when you've got 1 million young people who are not in education, employment or training, is obviously having a significant impact on families up and down the country. We're not suggesting for a moment that people will have to continuously carry this card, that this digital ID, that they'll have to produce it to access all sorts of services. But at the moment, we do have to produce ID for lots of things. If you have spot checks, for example, in workplaces or factories, you can be required to produce ID to prove that you can work. We've all got access now to things like the NHS app, which has had significant benefits for a lot of UK citizens. So we think there's a really positive element of this to a lot of people across the United Kingdom, but it also will help us to deal with something that's of significant concern to a lot of people, including many of your viewers, and that's illegal migration.
Yeah, but a lot of, I mean, every employer will know, and as every landlord knows, that, you know, if you take on a new tenant, you have to do a right to rent check. If you take on a new employee, you have to do a right to work check. So that's already available. So, I mean, part of the question is to say, well, why bother changing the dynamics of that? But also, if you are currently not bothered about doing a right to work check and employing someone illegally, that's not going to change with an ID card, is it?
Well, no, it's not. Although if you're not bothered about employing somebody illegally, then you can face unlimited fines and a jail sentence for doing so, and that won't change. But what will change is that we've heard from employers that it is often quite onerous to be able to do those checks. For example, you can require someone to give you the national insurance number, but the national insurance number is not linked to any kind of photo ID or other forms of ID. And so it's very difficult for employers to be absolutely certain that the person that they're employing is the person whose national insurance number has been presented. We think this makes it much simpler for employers. We think it's more robust, and we think it helps us as part of a whole suite of measures to tackle the illegal migration that we've seen in record numbers under the last government.
I mean, sorry, I was just going to say, because you said this is only about getting jobs, which is, you know, if it's limited to that, well, maybe that'll alleviate some fears. But even Tony Blair has said, oh, this is very good, it could lead to a gateway to government services. So he's already looking at expanding it.
Well, it could lead to a gateway to government services for people who choose to use it in that way. So just like with the NHS app, which I'm on, many people are on, where you can access your own medical records, can make GP appointments online and order repeat medication. Just as that has been game-changing for people who choose to use it, so could a digital ID for people who want to use it for those services. But we're being clear as a government today, and the Prime Minister will outline this in a speech later today. We're not requiring people to use it for those purposes, but if they want to, and we suspect many people will, it'll make their interface and interaction with the state much easier and much more seamless.
But frankly, in this country, any government's reputation for cyber security, as it were, has never been good. There are all sorts of breaches of data security. We've seen some recently as well that have stopped the NHS stone dead, or airports shut them down. We don't really trust a government's ability to keep our data secret and safe. So why should we trust you now?
Well, we've been looking at the experience of other countries like Estonia, where they've been pioneers in digital ID, and the measures that they've put in place to protect people's data, including really robust encryption services, so that if you have a digital ID, when you use it, only parts of that ID the parts that need to be shared will be shared. But cybersecurity is a growing problem, as you rightly highlight. The issues at Jaguar Land Rover are only the latest in a whole series of incidents that have affected M&S, the British Library and others. We're taking that seriously. We're bringing forward new laws, more robust laws to protect our cybersecurity. Every country in the world is dealing with that, but these two things can be done concurrently. And there are problems with offline ID. We've seen a rise in identity theft, people losing documents and then finding that somebody has stolen their identity and is using it for fraudulent purposes. If we get this right, and we're determined to do so, having learnt from the experience of other countries who've done it before us, it should be more secure and help to keep people's data more secure than the current system of having to carry around a lot of documents and constantly demonstrate that through different means.
OK. Lisa Nandy, we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, we'll move on for the moment, but we'll be back on this one. Time for the Great British Giveaway right now. There's still plenty of time for you to become our biggest winner to date. Here's how to take part.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yeah, best of luck to you. Now, still to come, as the PM is preparing to outline how these digital IDs will work, and we are going to have them, Mark White will be telling us about whether this really is a solution to illegal working and illegal migration.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Right, 18 minutes past 9. We're still talking IDs because it's controversial, but it looks like it is definitely happening. Our Home and Security Editor, Mark White, is here. What was interesting from Lisa Nandy is that, people are saying, well, it's not going to be a silver bullet to the migration issue, which she agreed with.
Well, yes. I mean, they've said, to be fair to the government for some time, it's a multitude of different solutions they are looking at in the round to try to make a difference.
So, Mark, is it going to stop the boats?
No, not at all. I don't think it will make any difference. It's called the black economy, illegal economy, the grey economy for a reason. And that's not just because it's people working in the illegal economy. It takes those who are employing them also to be part of that illegal economy. So you've got unscrupulous employers who are going to continue to be unscrupulous employers who are more than happy just to pay cash in hand for those that are doing a job of work.
Which she conceded to. She conceded that point. However, the argument which they're going to be employing, presumably, is, well, that might be the reality, but it's a deterrent to people wanting to come here.
I don't think it's any kind of deterrent at all because, you know, those coming across the channel, we did have an issue a couple of years back when lots of Albanians were coming. They didn't actually want to be part of the asylum system. They wanted to come off and work in cannabis farms or the construction industry or whatever. So they came, and then within a few days of arriving and being put in a hotel, they literally disappeared off into the grey economy. But the vast majority that come across the channel actually want to enter the system. They want to get citizenship at the end of the day. But is it going to stop them if they want to earn some cash in hand going off to unscrupulous employers? No, because there's an industry that has surrounded this for some time, where before they even arrive here, they're set up with the jobs by people that just don't care about the checks that need to be carried out. And it's okay saying, oh yes, but if they have a digital ID, we'll be able to check very quickly whether they have a right to be here. You can only check them if you raid a premises.
Yes, you know who they are.
There's only a set amount of immigration enforcement teams across the country who can carry out these raids, unless they are going to give us hundreds of thousands more immigration officers going to companies up and down the country looking for these people. How are they ever going to find them in the first place?
And that's something they haven't mentioned. Yeah.
And I think the point you made before was an excellent point about it seems that the burden actually falls on legitimate British nationals to prove that they are legitimate and they have the right to be here, rather than actually clamping down on what the issue is, of course, which is the million or so that are working out there in the illegal economy.
Yes. Right, we're out of time, man.
Oh, we are?
Yes.
OK, well, there's plenty more over the weekend to come.
Keep going on this. Mark, thanks very much indeed. We're out of time because we've got to tell you what's coming up at 9:30 because Alex and Miriam are here. Good morning.
Good
morning. Morning.
I wonder what you're going to be talking about.
I mean, well, we have to start with digital ID, don't we? I mean, we were talking about this morning. It's snake oil, isn't it? They're selling it as it's a snake oil salesman. The Prime Minister's going around telling everybody he's going to stop the gangs, smash the gangs with this digital ID. But as Mark White just alluded to, it's not going to achieve that goal. So what is the real purpose of this? We'll be digging into that.
It's political expediency, isn't it?
100%.
It is.
incredibly, it's popular in the polls, just like lockdowns were. So we're going to be exploring why is that and why actually might the public be being misled. Also, nearly half of working-age people now take more from the state than they pay in taxes. We're going to be exploring why that is. So lots to come.
And a mega poll as well. A mega poll has been done, and it looks very good for Nigel Farage, but not so good for the left, who even coming together wouldn't be able to do it. But all of that after the weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. It's a fine day once again for most of us, but turning increasingly cloudy towards the east and across central parts, whilst it becomes windy in the far north. In fact, it's a breezy day for many, but the strongest winds will increasingly be the north and west of Scotland as well as Northern Ireland. That breeze coming from the south means it's a little milder compared with recent days, but as the skies cloud over across the Midlands, the south and southeast, not going to feel quite as warm here. 16 or 17 Celsius, 1 or 2 showers coming out of that cloud. Otherwise, it's dry for the vast majority, and we keep the sunny skies for much of Scotland, Northern Ireland, Western England and Wales as we end the day. But you can see a few showers there across East Anglia and the southeast on Friday evening, so it's not entirely dry. A few breaks in the cloud here and there, but generally it is a cloudy picture. That does, of course, mean that overnight it's not going to be quite as cold. But for Scotland, Northern Ireland, plenty of bright weather as the sun goes down, and although it's windy, that wind's coming from the south, so it's not a cold wind compared with the start of the week where the winds were coming from the north. Now, on Friday night, we're going to see increasingly patchy cloud across many parts of the UK, and of course that breeze, so the air stirred up. That means a frost-free night for the vast majority, with temperatures several degrees higher compared with previous nights this week. So not a chilly start to Saturday, but it will be a wet start for Northern Ireland and Western Scotland as a fairly active weather front pushes into the west. It's going to slow down as it moves eastwards, only slowly peeling away from Northern Ireland and Western Scotland to allow brighter skies by the afternoon here, whilst it pushes into the rest of Scotland by lunchtime, western parts of England and Wales. Patchy rain towards the south, more persistent wet weather in the northwest, whilst it stays drier in the southeast with highs of 18 or 19 Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Due to overnight planned maintenance, the A90 in Dundee is restricted northbound between the Coupar-Angus interchange and the Cleppington roundabout. Drivers should note the closure of the northbound off-slip to the Cleppington roundabout and follow signed diversion routes. In Surrey, the M25 anti-clockwise has a broken-down vehicle causing one-lane closure between junction 14 and junction 13. Expect longer journey times. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast services between Stafford and Nuneaton are experiencing disruptions. Greater Anglia services between London Liverpool Street and Tottenham Hale are also impacted. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Britain's newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
He was even nicer off screen than he was on. Yeah. He was a real gentleman, and combined with being a really good journalist. And you didn't often get that. He came to us at TVAM in 1983, I think, almost at the very beginning. And he came from the BBC, and he was frightfully well thought of as a serious journalist. And I think at first he sort of felt like a fish out of water, because he was expected to sit on a sofa next to Roland Rat and have a laugh as well as have a serious interview. But he warmed to that challenge almost straight away, because he was a very warm person. And of course, we already had Lynn Foldswood, his wife, doing a consumer spot on TVAM in those days too. So we got to know them both really well, and they adored each other. We were all devastated when she went, and she died during lockdown, so nobody could actually go and comfort him. And it is a real loss. He had a wonderful life, though, I have to say. And his son, Nicholas, can be so proud of both his parents being such a force in broadcasting. Both of them were. It feels like the end of an era. He was one of the originals, he really was.
He really was. I mean, I was very lucky. I mean, I didn't work with him like you did, Anne, but very lucky enough to interview him and Lynn. I met Lynn first when she was battling bowel cancer. She did such amazing work, like yourself, with you know, raising awareness of things like this. And then I met John through her, and I just fell a little bit in love with him. He was so warm, so charming, so helpful. And, you know, as a young journalist, he was just so easy to talk to. As you say, he's one of the greats.
GB News, the People's Channel.